the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
I'm Nick Sainert. Nebraska has found their new athletic director. Trev Alberts will replace Bill Moose and make the move from UNO to UNL. Alberts is 50 years old and has been UNO's athletic director since 2009. Frank Solich announced his retirement on Wednesday morning. Solich won 173 games over his 22-year head coaching career. At Nebraska, he went 55-19 in 6 years with the program. That included one Big 12 championship in 1999. Husker baseball stayed hot when they received a commitment from Texas A&M transfer Mason Ornelas. He appeared in 18 games as a sophomore in College Station, and his brother Mitch is already a member of the Husker baseball program. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a 468-foot home run in the American League's 5-2 win last night in the All-Star Game. Vlad Jr. is the youngest player to win the All-Star Game MVP award at 22 years old. Tonight is Game 3 of the NBA Finals from Milwaukee. The Suns lead the series 2-1. Giannis and the Bucks will look to tie the series up tonight at 8 p.m. on ABC. And lastly, in soccer news, Lionel Messi and Barcelona have finally reached a new deal. Although the details of the contract have not been released, ESPN confirmed Messi took a significant wage reduction to prolong his stay with Barcelona. The 34-year-old's previous contract was worth $594 million. For our latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the DP and Stevens Show. Live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Derek Pearson.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.
Tom Stevens.
I listen to the
You're listening to the DP and Stevens Show. Brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center.
Yeah, I mean, in Nebraska now, I think Steve Peterson, obviously, we got to get this thing figured out. I mean, recruiting's starting to get crucial right now. And I'm watching this game, and I'm saying, Kirk Ferentz, I don't care if it takes $3 million, put his son on scholarship, his daughter on his wife, whatever you have to do, maybe Jim Grobe at Wake Forest. Forget about the NFL. There's great coaches in college football. Mark, talk to your buddy Kirk Ferentz. He can come to Lincoln. It's only 300 miles west on 84.
Just wait. You can't use this. First of all, Christmas is over.
Well, there is Trev Alberts. Of course, he is the new athletic director at the University of Nebraska. I guess not a big surprise, but he wasn't number one on my list. Number two, not that anybody cares about my list, but Trev Alberts has been named the athletic director at the University of Nebraska, coming over from UNO in a controversial move, of course, when he was hired there, cut wrestling and football. But now at Nebraska. What do you think?
I'm going to make a slight adjustment here.
With your hat? You're going to take off your hat.
Hold on.
Here comes the helmet.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this.
Am I going to have to play Hell Varsity or something like that?
We're going to have to do this today. I'm simply going to.
You're putting on the helmet.
Yeah.
And
I can hear you, so we're just going to do this today. There we go. We're better.
But if you're going to put on the helmet.
All the folks on the street.
I wonder what the fans are thinking. Of course, we want to hear from you today. The Sutter Heyman text line, 464-5685. The Honda of Lincoln hotline, same number, 464-5685. Do you like the hire?
In case I decide to bang my head. Right?
That could happen.
Well, I might. So
that could happen.
If I decide to bang my head, then you'll understand.
He was Trev Alberts is a Nebraska Hall of Famer. He was on that 94 Orange Bowl team that probably should have beaten Florida State and given Tom Osborne his first national title. Instead, the following year, the 95 Orange Bowl team, that was the 94 season, Nebraska finally wins Tom Osborne's first national title. But Trev Alberts wasn't a part of that. He goes on after his very short-lived NFL career due to injury and is a part of that ESPN broadcast, Game Day, with Mark May. It was very popular. But he was ultimately fired. There was a a thing where I guess he showed up late for a show or just didn't show up at all. He didn't feel like he was a big enough part of the game day broadcast with Mark May, but ultimately ends up at UNO, the controversial decision to cut the wrestling program, cut the football program, and create hockey, which has been pretty successful for UNO, but now athletic director at the University of Nebraska.
I'm just listening today. Today is I've gone full on Dave Chappelle. you know the bit. Actually, it may be in the system. Nick, did you get that in the system?
You're talking through the helmet.
Did he
It's
get
like,
did he put in Dave Chappelle? Can you put in?
I think it's in there.
This is me all day.
Is that the not the Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
No.
here.
It's Dave Chappelle. It simply says Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think he has that
Okay, he
in
doesn't
yet.
have it in yet. Okay, no worries.
We'll be efforting. Of course, the press conference. So I don't know how many people are listening right now because the press conference is going on.
Well,
But we'll have that in its entirety.
You could play the SNL bit where they're trying to figure out who's going to be the athletic director, and they're just approaching. They're standing on the corner asking anybody if they want to be the athletic director.
Here it is.
What have we here?
Hello. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
Not interested in me at all.
No reaction whatsoever.
You know it's brother.
Oh, boy. Here comes another live.
Oh.
Hello. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
Out of my league.
Mine too.
I just
Well, it's not surprising,
did
right?
they get what they wanted?
Well, it's not surprising. I don't know if you got what you want. Ed Stewart was at the top of my list. I believe Ed had taken his name off the menu a while back. I thought that John Cook might be an intriguing hire. I don't think that maybe John Cook wanted to do it. He's still vying for a national title. He's got a team with he just assembled the number one recruiting class, maybe in the history of volleyball, but number one in the country. And he feels like maybe he can win another national title, maybe several before he retires. So he probably doesn't have a big interest in being athletic director at the University of Nebraska. Garrett Classy, just because of all the tweeting that he had done, was currently, until Alberts just accepted the gig, interim athletic director. And he had done a lot of tweeting, seemed like a young hip guy in his 40s who knew a lot about name, image, and likeness, might be a good representative for the university.
You called him hip?
Hip for an interim athletic director. He's in his 40s. You think he's unhip?
No, I don't know.
He's not hip.
No, I was just curious about just sometimes.
I think he's hip to the scene.
Okay.
When you compare him
Is
to,
he down with the homies?
yeah, I think he's down with the homies. Compare him to Bill Moose, he's definitely hip.
Oh man,
Bob Devaney, he's definitely hip. Tom Osborne, Sean Eichhorst, any of those guys. I don't know what you're looking for, but you are looking for. I thought you would be looking for a guy with experience. You got that in Trev Alberts. How much does he have a grasp on name, image, and likeness, which is going to be huge in the coming years? Garrett Classy seemed to have that. Again, my sights were pointed in the direction of Ed Stewart, who could have helped you in the area of diversity. Nebraska, as we know, has had a problem in that area. They haven't hired any coaches, any African-American coaches ever as a head coach. I thought that, and not that he would have been a head coach, but he would have been head of all the programs and being athletic director. I thought that would have been a great opportunity for Nebraska.
Let's read some of these texts because
All right.
I want the folks to kind of, again, this is one of those, just where I was when the position became open. I said I want to pay attention to the masses. I don't need to set the temperature of the room, but I need to at least take the temperature of the room. Says welcome back. Thank you, whoever texted that. It's good to be back. Some folks think it's a great move. Time to move on. Who has more power? Trevor Frost. Tom, who has more power?
I don't think Trev Alberts is going to be intimidated by Scott Frost.
Okay,
but I would, and they didn't play together. Trev left in '94. Scott arrived in 1995 as a transfer from Stanford. And then, of course, played the following year in 96 and then in 97. They had 2 years left. But I'm sure they've crossed paths.
But do you think who has more power?
I would hope Trev Alberts. That would be my wish, that here's a guy that got rid of football at UNO. He got rid of wrestling at UNO. They were not popular decisions. Maybe he's not concerned about who Scott Frost is.
Okay.
That might be, I still think probably Scott Frost at this moment in time, until he doesn't, has more power than Trev Alberts.
Jeff says it's obvious he wasn't the first choice. It's a fine hire. I don't care that he cut football at Omaha, something they had to do. Your thoughts on that?
They were losing a lot of money in football. They were losing upwards of $1 million that they said at the time in football. Wrestling was not making the money. It was a non-revenue sport, but it was awkward in that he cut wrestling right after they had won a national title.
Why would he do that?
Because he was probably told, similar to Bill Moose coming in to hire Scott Frost, he was probably said, you're a hired gun to make some tough decisions here. And the decisions, by the way, have already been made. You're cutting football, you're cutting wrestling, and we're going to go with hockey. Okay. I think those decisions were made before Trev Alberts was hired at UNO.
Drumstick says this, love the hire, no-nonsense AD, who's got a no-nonsense approach, also former black shirt, which is always a good thing. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are kind of similar to a lot of people's. I don't know. We always go back to, well, he knows the lay of the land. Does he really? He didn't play at Nebraska since 1994. Maybe he has conversations with, of course, he has the ESPN ties. He was on game day, as we mentioned. So he followed college football at a high level. I believe he left in 2005. He was there for a couple of years, maybe 3 years, at ESPN until he left ESPN. And then maybe just a few years later, ended up at UNO as the athletic director. I think it has a chance to be a really good hire. I think he probably got the endorsement of somebody like a Tom Osborne, which is important in this state. I would have guessed Jamie Williams would have gotten that type of endorsement. I would assume Ed Stewart would have gotten the same type of.
We will never know.
We'll never know. Unless we go ask Tom Osborne, and then he'll go, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
We'll never know. Dave Braska says this. Trev Alberts has been AD in waiting since he was hired at UNO.
There is that thought. I've always wondered, and there are people out there that have talked about this, that maybe Tom Osborne, and I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't know, but there have been people that said that maybe Tom Osborne and Trev Alberts made an agreement. If you don't play football, we won't build a hockey team. So there might have been that agreement. Not that Nebraska benefited a ton from UNO not playing football. I guess they got some of their walk-ons over the years. I don't think it wouldn't have mattered for Husker football whether or not UNO is playing football or not. It was strictly a financial decision, which are made. Those decisions are made at athletic departments throughout the country.
Yeah, okay. And I said I was going to behave today, so I'm going to hold myself to that, opposed to setting it on fire and letting it burn. My thought was this. The regents were going to tell you who they really are with this hire. They were going to tell you what the direction, what standard was going to be met, right? And again, I'll be interested in hearing what standards are talked about today.
Mm-hmm.
What direction they talk about today, right? Is the standard, are you going to hold people accountable? And don't just say you're going to hold people accountable. Actually have a plan for how you're going to hold people accountable, and then set the bar. Like today has to be just set the bar day.
Yeah,
you have to know. Okay, listen, 5 wins is unacceptable this year.
Well, this is a guy that's spoken about Nebraska football when he was on ESPN. You talk about standard. What is the standard at Nebraska? He's already said that years ago.
Trev, is this a fair move to Frank Solich?
I think this is difficult for everybody in the Husker family because of the respect for Frank Solich. He's given his entire professional career and obviously his playing career for Nebraska. But I really do believe, I think this is the right move. I think if you're really honest about it, the program had slipped into mediocrity somewhat. And the bottom line for Nebraska is this. It always has been and it always will be about winning championships. Anything less is frankly unacceptable.
The question is, will Alberts be held to some of the comments that he has made in the past? You're talking about a coach in Frank Solich that was 58-19, just retired today after being the all-time wins leader in MAC history. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer at Ohio. He's on record as saying, yeah, it was a good move for Nebraska to fire Frank Solich. Is he going to have that same thought as athletic director at the University of Nebraska? Because Scott Frost would have to win every game from here on out to get to Frank Solich's numbers.
One of my favorite coaching phrases: be careful what you constantly tell people about yourself, because they will start to believe you. Look, there's a moment where truth and action have to meet. Like, you can't tell me who you are if your actions don't show that.
Right.
And at some point, if Trev Alberts comes in today and does not speak to that winning championships is only acceptable, then I'm going to question him forward.
Right.
If he's not going to hold the program accountable to the standard that had been set, and then the resetting of the standard. So today's the resetting of the standard. I'm paying attention to what they say today.
Right.
Because it's going to let me know, one, position of authority. Does he have the power? Does he have the quant? Right? Is he in control? Is he in control?
Right.
Or is he simply asking for help? Is he somebody else's pawn to move to be in place to do another thing? Or is his mission to get it right on his terms, under his service and under his direction?
That'll be interesting because when he was here at Nebraska, the standard was winning championships and playing for national championships. And they were doing that. And if he were to talk to Jay Foreman on a regular basis, or Jason Peter or Christian Peter or Tommy Frazier, they would say the same thing that he probably did. I mean, Trev Alberts, when he said that 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, when Frank Solich was fired, we all have that revisionist history, that we say, that was a mistake to fire Frank.
Hindsight. Yeah.
We all say that, but he was not winning championships, and Nebraska was, having years where they would go 7-7. And it was not Tom Osborne, and we could see a definite difference. It was definitive between the Tom Osborne era and the Frank Solich era. It was dramatic. 60-3 was no longer. But when you compare it to now, you're thinking, man, I would take 58-19 in a heartbeat. So it's a complicated thing. I doubt that he would go back and have that same Steve Peterson type speech where we can't sink to mediocrity, because Nebraska's already past mediocrity. They're way below that.
The clip is there.
Right.
Like, that was him.
Yes.
That was him.
But that was almost 20 years ago.
Okay.
And the standards were different.
And
when you talk about standards, they have definitely changed.
Today, you get to reset the standard. You get to reset the direction. To address the text line, they said, why are we hating on Trev Alberts? We weren't hating on Trev Alberts. I asked a question. Look, if I ask a question, you don't like your own answer to it, then I got no skin in the game when it comes to Trev Alberts and the athletic director position. Shocker. Somebody says shocker. DP is already hating on Trev. Who said I was anti-Trev? He hasn't even spoken yet. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, here's where we are. Today, the University of Nebraska and the athletic department has a new director. It has new leadership. What I've said to you constantly is, I'm going to pay attention to what you tell me today. That's not hate. That's accountability. Look, I'm not here to throw confetti or blow smoke. If you guys tell me that Trev Alberts is the guy and you're happy, then be happy. What's that got to do with me? What does it? I don't understand what that has to do.
I don't know if it's a great hire. I don't know if it's just because I just don't know.
Okay.
On the surface, it looks. Here's one of the top 4 candidates that we've been mentioning since the search started.
Since it began.
It was Cook, which I never really believed.
Mhm.
It was Ed Stewart, which I truly wanted. I was a big fan of a possible Ed Stewart hire.
Mhm.
It was Trev Alberts. There were a few names. Garrett Classy was a name that we had heard because he was interim athletic director.
Mhm.
I thought that was a possibility. Here's the reason I do like the Trevor Alberts hire. He's already been able to make difficult decisions. Well, I want somebody who has high standards.
Right.
I would think that he would have high standards.
I want to know. All I've said today is I can't wait to hear what his statement of standard is. How simple is that?
What do you expect it to be similar from what he said 20 years ago regarding Solich?
I am present. So if he tells me today, listen, here's what I said 20 years ago and I was right. Here's what I said 20 years ago and I am wrong. That's what adults do. That's what grown-ups do. See, when Trev walks in and he's the man and he's in control and they play his theme song and he struts out there and he tightens the red tie and then he says from this point forward, this is who Nebraska athletics is going to be, and in particular Nebraska football. Whatever he says after that, then that's the bar and that's the direction. I don't know what he's going to say today.
Well, let me help you. Help me. There you go. You play the role of Trev Alberts. You're about to speak, and the first question after he does, is whatever he says before he gets questions from the media. Mm-hmm. He'll introduce himself, and he doesn't need.
He doesn't have to. Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Then the question comes: what should be the standard for Nebraska football and Nebraska athletics in general? What would your answer be as Trev Alberts? What should it be?
When he left the building, there was a national championship standard. Not only was it the right. standard, but it was the culture. Nothing else would do.
Right.
So if anybody can speak to that, it's Trev Alberts. Look, when I left the building, and my name's up in the building, when I left the building, this was the greatest building in all of collegiate football. This program was right. one of the blue blood programs in collegiate athletics. There's zero reason why we can't have that again.
That's what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear.
Right.
And I think you would have gotten that from Ed Stewart as well, by the way. You would have probably gotten that from John Cook had he been named athletic director. You're probably going to get it from Trev Alberts today.
I don't know what we would have gotten from anybody else. Trev has the job. So now I'm just curious as a football fan, as Nebraska media, I'm curious. I can't wait to hear what he says today about the direction of the program. And there's nobody on the text line and nobody listening who doesn't want the same thing I want, which is Nebraska football to return to its glory days and its rightful spot at the top of the football heap. Now, does that mean that I will just go along with nonsense and silliness? No. Is that what I'm expecting? No. I want to hear today what Trev Alberts' mission, task, purpose, job, like in the job description, did they say to him that this football program must win and we're going to hold you accountable for it?
Yeah. Sanderson says this, as you're finding out, DP, Husker fans don't want to ask or have answered any hard questions. They just want to drink the Kool-Aid. I don't think that's true. I think that we've drank a lot of Kool-Aid over the last several years.
I'm cool with the Kool-Aid. Listen,
I'm not cool with the Kool-Aid.
Everybody listening should, the majority of people want Nebraska in the bowl championship game this year and every year forward. I'm in the same boat. Like I'm in the same boat. I wouldn't move here if I wasn't here for the good of the community. what we'll find out today is the new leader of the athletic department. And I put that in air quotes because he's beholden to somebody. What parameters did they set when they hired him, when they sought him out in this great national search, that they ended up right back here in Omaha with somebody that knows the building that we're talking about? And if that's the dude, and I'm cool, he is the dude now. What I want to know is what you talked to him about when you hired him, when you interviewed him. Trev, we're not in a good spot with the football program. They should have asked him what his plan was. How do you fix it? What can you add to this to get it right? And the first thing is his name's on the board, and he is a standard setter. The football program is going to follow him. Okay, so now you're going to ask us to follow you. Where are we going, and how are we going to get there? Ain't nobody getting on a bandwagon, not know where it's going. Right. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid if I don't know who made it. I don't know why you made it. Look, tell me that Trev Alberts is going to lead this program back to glory. And then he should be able to tell you how he's going to do it. That's all I want.
Well, you can't get there unless you demand excellence. And he feels like a guy that would demand excellence. He demanded it of himself as a player. I think he's demanded it in his personal life. He's achieved a lot. Is it an athletic director from Oklahoma or Alabama or Ohio State or Iowa State, Jamie Pollard? No. It's a guy that, and we speculated they're probably going to stay in the family. They stayed in the family.
Did UNO understand college football at its highest level, and were they successful in it?
No, they were not.
Okay.
But he did as a player.
As a player. And now he's no longer a player. He is the leader of the entire department. From first penny to last, he's now accountable to and accountable for the super program. So now what? All I've asked this morning is, now what?
And we're going to get those answers from the presser. We can't play it live, but we will replay it as we get it, and it'll be cut up. Nick is doing that as we speak. Trev Alberts has spoken. Is that still Ronnie? There's Trev there. Ronnie Green probably already gave his little spiel, and Trev is speaking now. This is kind of funny off the text line, 464-5685. Did they hire Trev to kill the football program in case Frost doesn't get it done? Of course, reference to what happened at UNO. I don't know what I think about the hire. I do want to listen to the presser.
We've got some of the quotes, and as they're flooding out, the one he's stressing trust, gaining trust from student athletes, coaches, and staff. The academic side, we need to trust each other. We need to be able to have healthy tension. There you see. Growth requires friction.
You like that comment? Healthy tension.
See, healthy tension means I'm going to hold you when the standard and what's actively happening don't meet and they don't coordinate. Then you got to get friction to get it change the direction. Like, that tells me more than anything else we talk about so far. He says we can never take the fans' trust for granted.
The text line says another Osborne puppet. Can't move forward if we're tied down to the past. The past is over. Well, we tried moving past the past with Sean Eichhorst. That hasn't always worked either. I think you just hire the right guy, whether it's past, present, future. Just get the right guy. And I don't think we'll know.
Be careful what you just said. You said, make sure you said the right guy.
Oh, or gal. Right guy or gal?
Well.
Hey, we talked to Shannon Lum the other day. Maybe she'll be athletic director in 5 years.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. He also says we're going to establish great teamwork. We're going to have clearly defined roles. We simply cannot allow somebody to put their personal interest ahead of the best interest for the University of Nebraska. That's a statement of accountability. That is a statement of boundary. Again, today is the resetting. Forget what you think of Trev Alberts in the past. Forget about all the other athletic directors. Today is the day that Trev Alberts gets to say, this is who we are, this is where we are, but this is what we're going to be, and this is how we're going to get there. That's what today is. That's all there is. I'm cool with whatever else anybody feels about it.
I think Nick is getting some bites together. We'll start to play them as they trickle in. Trev Alberts, with his press conference, the new athletic director at the University of Nebraska, replacing Bill Moos, who had 18 months left on his contract. This is kind of going to be the topic today. 464-5685. Love to have you chime in on the Starter Heyman text line. More on the way.
More of the DP and Steven Show is coming your way on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hey guys, it's Nick and Big Sky.
What's up?
Join us every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. for our new show, The Student Section,
where we will break down the biggest sports news of the week from a college student's perspective and bring on a local student athlete who's made our honor roll with exceptional performance in and out of the game.
The Student Section every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Since 1905, Sartor Heyman Jewelers has been through many world-changing events. We have stood strong with you and at times held on with you through the storms. Sartor Heyman is not just a jewelry store. We are 4 generations of family in the Nebraska community. We've laughed with you, celebrated with you, and at times cried with you. We're still here and strong as ever, waiting to serve you. We'll get through this together. Sartor Heyman, your hometown jeweler since 1905. Official jeweler of Husker Nation.
Get ready to set, spike, and ace with City of Lincoln Volleyball Leagues this fall. Register early during the week of July 12th through the 18th and get an early registration discount to save money. Or gather the team and register by mid-August. Women's and co-ed leagues available. Leagues play an 8-game season plus a double elimination tournament. And a reminder, registrations close for adult fall kickball on July 25th and adult fall softball on July 18th. Get more info and register at teamsideline.com/LincolnNE or call 402-441-7892.
When you buy a new home, you don't want it to be like all the rest of them, right? Coolman Construction does design-built custom homes, and they've never built the same home twice. With Coolman Construction, you'll know exactly where your money is going to and for what reasons, and they allow you to choose exactly what you want for your home after educating you on what's available. They love what they do, and it's never about the dollar, it's about the relationship. Learn more about custom home design at CoolmanConstruction.com. That's KUHLMAN Construction.com.
Our Remington Homes has really expanded and taken off in the last 5 years.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about their exciting new division, Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier and more affordable.
The exciting thing about a Remington home is you get to choose your floor plan from predetermined floor plans. You can select your options. We give you a lot of choices. By selecting certain floor plans, they're just easier to build. And you couple that with our great lot selection in all different areas. People do not want to be married to their house payment. They want to get a nice house with nice finishes in a great area for an affordable price. And that's what Remington Homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Nelson Gas and Oil says, let's step back and give our personal gratitude and deep appreciation to our troops, living veterans, and those who gave their lives. We stand in awe of their dedication, discipline, and are humbled by their sacrifices. This message is brought to you by Nelson Gas and Oil, who has serviced the farm community for over 50 years. Nelson Gas and Oil appreciates our farmers and is always available at 402-784-3201. Nelson Gas and Oil, on the air because they care.
Back to the DP and Steven Show, brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's a busy day, and Tom from the text line, and again, we thank you folks for chiming in, adding to the conversation. Question for you, Tom. Do you ever get tired of having to defend Nebraska against DP's constant criticism?
No,
hilarious.
it's a good. I mean,
That's hilarious.
It's a good banter. I think it creates discussion, and a lot of the stuff that you were telling me from day one, I was like, "This is crap," and then some of it turns out to be right. Not all of it, but I think
most of it.
I've influenced you a little bit as well. Admit it.
What it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I constantly ask and question you. I'll say, what did I criticize about Nebraska today? To be clear,
it's more your tone, as my mom would say. My mom used to say that all the time. My mom would say that all the time. I don't like your tone. I don't like your tone.
My wife says that all the time. She goes, it's not what you said, it's the face you made when you were saying.
I think we're all going to make faces until this thing gets turned around. Let's face it. This hire was made to fix football. You could talk about women's basketball or soccer or any other sport or rifle. If Nebraska fixes football, everything else flows from that. This is the program that makes the university $55 million a year based on a TV contract. So you hired a guy with football ties, even though he's the guy that went to UNO and canceled football, which makes it even more complicated.
There's irony is a word that's in the dictionary. Like we just don't get it. It's just juicy. A couple of quotes. He said, Trev Albert said, "I've talked to Scott. I want to be helpful, and I can't wait to do that. But at first, I have to earn his trust." He says he strongly believes in Scott Frost. And again, I'm paying attention. So these are all things to mark down, right? Thought one. Trust is the most important thing. Leadership in organizations are built on trust. Has to earn the trust of student athletes, fans, coaches, media, donors. Okay, all of that. This place is reflective of Nebraskans and the way Nebraskans live their life. They're tough, hardworking people. They do the right things the right way. No excuses and never quit. Now, that part of it, I hope we're willing to go with that. He also says, establish proper work habits. We have to be the hardest working athletic department in the U.S. It's something we can control. We'll make mistakes, but we'll be transparent and fix them.
Well, that was a criticism of Bill Moose, that he wasn't seen much over the last year and a half, and some of it was blamed on COVID. But he wasn't around the office. So you want somebody who works really hard. I mean, this program, all the programs need elbow grease at a very high level. I do like the comment of healthy tension. That says a lot to me. That what it says to me is I'm not afraid to make tough decisions. There's going to be some healthy tension. And sometimes I want my coaches a little bit uncomfortable.
They better be. They better be.
Yeah.
They better understand that if you're not being accountable to the fans, the donors, etc., because right now there's no accountability. Like I said, we've given a long runway. Well, that's not accountable.
Josh makes the point that Trev did bring alcohol to UNO. So is that on the way? That's one of the questions you'll get.
I've said clearly, today is a day where, again, the direction of the Nebraska athletic department has changed. Now, where are we going and how do we get there? Like, you can't just tell me that you're going to go from, winning 3, 4, 5 games a year by not changing anything. You have to change something.
Right.
There has to be friction.
But there also has to be a time period where you come in as athletic director and don't just say, well, I heard from other people that this is what it is. And so we're going to make changes based on what other people have told me. No.
Oh, no, that's how you got the job.
You get in here and you observe with your own eyes, and then you make decisions based on that.
That's okay. So that's how you got here. That's why you were required. The people who didn't like the direction
and
the things that were going on, those are the people that hired you. Those are the people you're accountable to.
But it was also a situation where you had a 70-year-old athletic director that maybe had ruffled some feathers, that was really hired to make a hire, and that was Scott Frost. And then he added on the Fred Hoiberg hire. And then it was easy to say, okay, it's the end of the fiscal year. There's the door. Thanks for, you have some lovely parting gifts, a la $3 million.
Who made the decision that Bill Moose needed to be hired?
Well, I think
why?
Sean Eichhorst made the decision that Bill Moose needed to be hired because Sean Eichhorst was horrible.
But Sean Eichhorst couldn't make that decision. He needed other people to make that decision.
And Harvey Perlman made that decision to fire Sean Eichhorst.
Through all the people that made the decision that Bill Moose was no longer going to be the athletic director, guess what? They've already told Trev Alberts what was going on. Trev Alberts already knows. He's in the circle.
Yeah.
He already knows. So guess what? He was brought in. A part of him getting the job was, what are you going to do to make us better? And coming in the door and saying, I'm not holding anybody accountable, isn't it?
Well, that's what sometimes people say when they're in front of a microphone. When they're at their desk talking to their subordinates, they don't always say those same things.
Well, does that mean you're not a truth teller?
That means that you don't stand up at a microphone and say, you know what, Scott Frost has 4 games to get it done, otherwise he's fired.
They didn't have any problem coming in and saying that the Big Ten needed to defend. Hey, we're going to make them change to us. They're going to make them adapt to us.
That's what Scott Frost said. Trev Alberts never said that.
Okay, what did Bill Moose say?
Bill Moose said that. Bill Moose did say that.
Here's the thing. Through all things, be accountable for what you say and what you do. That's all that as a professional.
There's nothing that he said today that's crazy. I mean, there was nothing that he said that was anywhere near Bill Moose type stuff. Bill Moose said stuff that was a little bit off his rocker for the first couple of years. Not that I necessarily minded. I like some of the stuff that Bill Moose said. It was refreshing, and it's great to do radio when you have great quotes to talk about. Ultimately, Trev Alberts is going to be judged on how his programs do. And there have been mixed results throughout their baseball program. 2013 and 14, they had winning seasons, but overall 76 and 134. Men's basketball has done pretty well. Darren Hansen has been a good hire. They've twice come within 1 game of making the NCAA tournament. But that's something to watch. Women's basketball, Trev Alberts hired Carrie Banks, who became the only black head coach in Division I in Nebraska. She took over a team.
Say that again. Just
the only black coach.
Hold on. Let me clear the chamber, the mental chamber. And I'm going to have you read this statement again, and you can tell me what's the most bizarre thing in the statement. But go ahead and read.
That is weird that Carrie Banks, who was the only black head coach in Division I in Nebraska. I think that's probably still the case in the entire state. So it's not just the university system.
And nobody finds that bizarre.
That's a little bizarre.
Nobody finds that bananas. Is that a statement of who Nebraska is?
But it also tells you that Trev Alberts is willing to hire black coaches.
I'll ask you again. Is that a statement of who Nebraska is?
No. What are you saying? That Nebraska is racist? I mean, is that it?
I'm fully capable of putting words in my own mouth.
Okay, I
asked you a question.
What do you obviously have an answer to that question.
I asked you a question. Is that a statement of who Nebraska is?
No.
That's the answer. You don't have to justify.
But explain what you mean by who Nebraska. Who do you think Nebraska is?
If in this space, as you hire people and fire people and you move in a direction, what I want is the full pool of competent candidates. Because if you're truly interested in doing what's best for the athletes and student athletes and the fans, then you want the best person in place. Period. And if you're not looking at certain people, then you're not really looking for the best people.
I
You're
agree.
looking for convenience, and you're looking for likeness rather than competency. So that's that question to tell me that when you said to me, I didn't know that. I didn't know that UNO.
I didn't know that until I just read that.
When you read that, that's kind of a gut punch that, okay, this is a part of the process. That being said, what Trev Alberts has the ability to do today is to say, enough. Losing is not acceptable.
Right.
And I don't care who I have to hold accountable for it. And I don't care how long you think you deserve to get the program right. If you can't get the program right now, then you're not the right person for the job. Now is a way you can go. You can also come in and go, you know what? Love you, bro. We're going to ride it out together, and whatever happens, happens.
I've been involved in those. You've been in radio, you've been in radio like I have long enough to know when management is sometimes a new management team comes in. They say that we love you all. Everybody's got a job. You're all good. We think we're doing great. And then 2 weeks later, everybody's gone.
Been in those meetings.
Been
right?
in those meetings.
Been in those meetings
numerous times. I'm not sure your opening presser is the time to, hey, there's a new sheriff in town.
Oh no, Ed, I'm fully Eddie Murphy. When you walk into a new building, the statement that I'm in a position of authority, it brought in. I wouldn't accept the job if I couldn't put the best people in place. I wouldn't accept the job if I was going to be held to a lesser standard than I'm used to working. Like, you understand that working with me every day.
Yeah.
I work at my standard.
Yes, you do.
I ask people to come to my level and not for me to work at yours, whatever that level is. And it doesn't mean lower, or it just means different. You work from a standard. You prepare like a madman. Like, I have mad respect for that. That allows me to go, you know what? I can trust that dude because he's always going to be prepared and we'll get through.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Nick. Same thing with Mark. All those things in play. What Trev Alberts has the ability to say today is, I'm walking into this place to make it everything you want it to be. And I'll do whatever it takes for us to be successful in football again. And then successful requires a definition. And nowhere in successful is sub 500 football defined as successful.
I get all that. And I've seen coaches win the press conference. I've seen very few coaches lose a press conference or athletic directors lose a press conference. I ultimately don't care what they say at a press conference. I want their teams to win on the field.
No, but this is the only day that they have a full chance, opportunity to reset the focus for all the people who can't be in that room and all the people who can't be in the meetings and the interview, right? Because this is the day that Trev gets to tell us what happened in the interview.
Right.
What is in the job description?
Yep.
Is winning football in the job description or no?
It has to be.
Right. Like, I don't know why that's
number
complicated.
1, 2, and 3. Well, let's listen to the press conference. When we get it all cut up, we'll play it and we'll see how you grade it and I grade it and how he did, because we haven't heard.
It's in the folder.
We haven't heard the tone yet. I mean, it's all about the tone.
You can't see what face he made. When
That's
he said
right.
it, right.
Let's do that. In the meantime, though, we do have the blog jog, and we'll do that next.
You're listening to the DP and Stevens Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. There are fans, and then there's you. You live it. You breathe it. You want to soak it all in. Most sports talk shows are fine, but you find yourself craving more. You need the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer. Each day, we break down what's happening on the recruiting trail and on campus, bringing you guests from all corners of the college football world. The Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer. Weekdays at 2 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Partly cloudy skies expected here for our Wednesday. We'll top out at around 93. South winds at around 15 to 20. We'll watch for a chance of thunderstorms this evening into tonight. Potential for some isolated severe thunderstorms. Expect a low down to 66. Much cooler tomorrow with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
Since 1905, Sartor Heyman Jewelers has been through many world-changing events. We have stood strong with you and at times held on with you through the storms. Sartor Heyman is not just a jewelry store. We are 4 generations of family in the Nebraska community. We've laughed with you, celebrated with you, and at times cried with you. We're still here and strong as ever, waiting to serve you. We'll get through this together. Sartor Heyman, your hometown jeweler since 1905, official jeweler of Husker Nation.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air's motto is our family serving yours. That starts with how we hire. We go through an extensive interview process to really get to know you and show you who we are. We want to help you build a great career, be challenged, have fun, and bring home an excellent weekly paycheck. We offer competitive wages with benefits, including a day off for your birthday. Apply to be a part of the John Henry's family at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and there has never been a better time to trade in your car, truck, or van, and Koppel wants to be the place to do it. We have sold and serviced vehicles here in Louisville for over 45 years, and to show our appreciation, Bob would like to invite you down to the dealership to get a multi-point inspection, oil change, alignment check, and Kelly Blue Book evaluation for your vehicle at no charge. Yes, you heard right, no charge. This is a limited time offer. Go online at koppelcars.com, schedule your visit. You must have an online appointment to qualify. Offer ends June 30th.
Get your vehicle ready for summer driving with our no-cost, no-obligation courtesy inspection. We'll check your brakes, belts, hoses, fluid, suspension, tires, and more. It's absolutely free. And drive away with extra savings, too, with a $70 reward card after submission when you buy 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. You've got a lot going on this summer. Getting there should be the easy part.
T.O. Haas, Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
When you buy a new home, you don't want it to be like all the rest of them, right? Coolman Construction does design-built custom homes, and they've never built the same home twice. With Coolman Construction, you'll know exactly where your money is going to and for what reasons, and they allow you to choose exactly what you want for your home after educating you on what's available. They love what they do, and it's never about the dollar, it's about the relationship. Learn more about custom home design at KuhlmanConstruction.com. That's KUHLMAN Construction.com.
All right, listen up, y'all.
Wait, what is it, Rico? To book, to film, to play. This is the Blog Job.
So, Rico. I'm told you're more of the strong silent type.
Brought to you by Barney Insurance. Suave. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You can just put your phone down, man. You can just put your phone down.
Yeah.
You can just put your
Just
phone
dance.
down.
Just dance.
Put your phone down.
Yeah.
Ain't no point. I don't need a story from you. I don't need no crazy stories. I'm just here to hear you.
I kind of like the crazy story.
No. The craziest thing I heard all day, I just read to y'all. I'm just.
I told you how I feel about it.
No. This is how we're gonna do this. So, this is the quote that was posted. So I will deal with this as well. Ronnie Green said Nebraska had a pool of 25 candidates. They decided on Alberts this past weekend. Ted Carter says Nebraska interviewed just one candidate.
That's not how that's supposed to work.
They interviewed one candidate for this job.
Who was that? Who did they interview?
The guy they hired.
So they interviewed Ed Stewart, and then they just hired Trev Alberts?
No. What this says is I'm okay.
And this is straight from
This
Ted Carter.
This from Ted Carter.
This isn't a rumor.
I'm going to repeat. I need to put it on the shirt. Be careful what you tell people about you because they will start to believe you. That is bananas.
Okay. So you hire a search firm.
Yeah.
As you heard in the you guys didn't hear, but we heard, he named a lot of people that were also helping out with the search firm, including former players, current players, and such.
Who?
Ndamukong Suh, Austin Allen were two of them. Jordan Burroughs. There were other people. There's a long list of people. He's going through the names, and I look. I don't look. You know what? I don't even care. I was looking at Nick, and he's naming all these people, and I said, "You know damn well none of these people helped with this search."
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow.
And then you say you had 25 people, cut it down to 8. You interviewed 1. You're supposed to, if you're going to do your due diligence and you want to find the right person for the job, even if you interview 1 and you go, you know what, that might be the guy. You go, all right, let's hear everybody else out. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's see if anybody can. So he's number 1. Let's see if anybody could take that number 1 spot from him. And they were like, nope, he's number 1. That's it. We don't need to hear from anybody else.
Rico, if you
that's
needed,
not how this works.
If you needed a babysitter for Ellie, how many interviews?
So many people. So many people.
Mark, how many times did you and I meet before you offered me the job? Yeah, right. Okay, that's just
so many people.
Right,
I'm not trusting
more than 8 times.
I'm gonna meet with one person, and this person's gonna smile and say all the right things, and then that person's gonna leave, and me and Rachel are gonna go,
okay,
that was pretty good. I think we're gonna leave him with our 2-year-old.
I understand what you guys are saying, but that doesn't mean that they didn't take all of the candidates out to lunch and have a conversation.
I'm not giving people credit for stuff they haven't proven they've done.
Tom, this is what he said.
An interview is different from conversation.
But this is what he said.
You actually have to do the work. This is my main issue. To tell me that you're going to change the direction of the program, then you need new ideas, new concepts, new ways of working. If you're going to do what you've constantly done, what do you get? You get the same. We know the definition of insanity. If you're going to continually do the things that folks have issue with, look, if you're comfortable with it, cool. But from a sports standpoint, if you don't change something and then constantly wonder why nothing gets better, good heavens, man, you deserve what you get.
And look, I'm not here to say Trev Alberts is not going to work and this is a dumb hire. I hope this works. I think it might work. He seems like he was saying all the right things. He seems like he knows what he's going to be doing, and he seems like he might be able to make the tough decisions. But you said you interviewed 1 person.
Yep, I get it.
1 person. Like there's a process to this thing, and that's not the process.
Look, man.
Look, if you're blown away by the look, man, there are people that are getting drafted, even if they have the number 1 overall pick. You know what they do? They'll still bring people in for workouts. They know who they're going to take, but guess what? They're like, you know what? Let's see what everybody else has just in case.
Yeah, I get it.
And guess what? That got Anthony Bennett number 1 overall. Didn't work, but it did.
It's work out.
I mean, if you interview Michael Jordan to be on Team USA, it's a formality, right? I mean,
we're not talking about Michael Jordan now, are we?
This is if you're interviewing.
Trev Alberts is one of the Michael Jordans of Nebraska football.
Okay.
Up there with Tommy. Yeah, up there. He's a former All-American. He was a top 5
Michael
pick.
Jordan, though?
For Nebraska. I mean, name the 5 Michael Jordans of Nebraska.
There's
sports.
no 5 Michael. There's 1 Michael Jordan.
Tommy Frazier?
Careless Whisperer asked this question. He says, was Carter lying? They probably offered someone else, and they said no.
That's
now, if people,
I'm not going to make assumptions. I'm going off of what the dude said.
Didn't we just speak to transparency? Didn't the
I'm not putting words
because we see
in
it
his
in
mouth.
politics all the time. People are always honest in politics.
But trust,
and believe me, a university is politics.
In their speech today, trust is important, and you have to earn it. Tell me the truth. I'm a grown up. Tell me the truth.
I'm guessing that they at least talked to more than just 1 person.
I'm just going by what they said. I didn't.
I would like to think that they talked to more than 1 person. I would like to believe that they, with their search firm, with their nationwide search firm, that they didn't just go 45 minutes down the road, said, "Hey, Trev, do you want the job?" He said yes, and they said, "Cool, let's do it."
Well, I would hope in 2 weeks, but has it been 2 weeks, maybe
2
3
weeks
since Bill Moose stepped down, that they would have had time to talk to more than just one person, where you're driving 45 minutes.
That's
down
what
the
they
road.
said. They said
if,
they did
if that
one
is
interview.
the case, I would be very upset. But I think interview and talk is different for me. I get what
you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, and I agree with that. But just to come out and say we interviewed one person and we gave him the job, not a good look.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, how simple is it just to say that that's not a good look? Like, you could be mad.
Not a good look.
Like, you want to celebrate today? Celebrate today.
You can believe that Trev Alberts is going to do great things as the Nebraska athletic director, but
I don't know.
But you have
honestly
to realize if you are a boss at a job, you bring in one person and you think, man, this person's perfect. I'm not going to talk to anybody else.
Yeah. They didn't say
you
talk.
You really going to do that?
They said interview. They said interview.
Well, you're bringing somebody in to give them a job.
Yeah.
And you go through all of the things that they need to do in their job, and they tell you how they're going to do it, because that would be an interview, not just a talk. And you go through one person, and they blow you away, and you're like, you know what? I don't think anybody else is going to do any better than this.
Okay.
Would any of us hire Trev Alberts? I want to answer that question in the next 20 minutes or so. Let's listen to the press conference and what he said and what we thought of his responses. Let's do that next on DP and Stevens.
Follow DP and Stevens on Twitter at Derek Pearson, at 93.7 Tom Stevens. This is the DP and Stevens Show. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Jim Furyk is on the 18th green with Stephen Ames, who had a bad day. I think I'm out of the way of everything. I'm right by the stands.
Yeah.
There's a camera guy right to my left, and I was out of his way initially. And then I looked behind me, I saw people are trying to see, so I kneel. I ducked down, not knowing that when I ducked down, I was right in the camera's spot. Yes, as he's focusing on Stephen Ames, and this guy goes, "Get the hell out of the way!"
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and there has never been a better time to trade in your car, truck, or van, and Koppel wants to be the place to do it. We have sold and serviced vehicles here in Louisville for over 45 years, and to show our appreciation, Bob would like to invite you down to the dealership to get a multi-point inspection, oil change, alignment check, and Kelley Blue Book evaluation for your vehicle at no charge. Yes, you heard right, no charge. This is a limited time offer. Go online at koppelcars.com, schedule your visit. You must have an online appointment to qualify. Offer ends June 30th.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Get your vehicle ready for summer driving with our no-cost, no-obligation courtesy inspection. We'll check your brakes, belts, hoses, fluid, suspension, tires, and more. It's absolutely free. And drive away with extra savings, too, with a $70 reward card after submission when you buy 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. You've got a lot going on this summer. Getting there should be the easy part.
T.O. Haas, Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
Security First Bank. We're the bank, and we make your mortgage more manageable with flexible terms, trusted advice, and competitive rates. When you work with us, we'll know your name, but we'll also get to know your home dreams too. Security First Bank of Lincoln. Voted best small bank in Nebraska by Newsweek magazine. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 505011.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Nick Sainert. Nebraska has found their new athletic director. Trev Alberts will replace Bill Moose and make the move from UNO to UNL. Alberts is 50 years old and has been UNO's athletic director since 2009. Frank Solich announced his retirement on Wednesday morning. Solich won 173 games over his 22-year head coaching career. At Nebraska, he went 55-19 in 6 years with the program. That included one Big 12 championship in 1999. Husker baseball stayed hot when they received a commitment from Texas A&M transfer Mason Ornelas. He appeared in 18 games as a sophomore in College Station, and his brother Mitch is already a member of the Husker baseball program. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a 468-foot home run in the American League's 5-2 win last night in the All-Star Game. Vlad Jr. is the youngest player to win the All-Star Game MVP award at 22 years old. Tonight is Game 3 of the NBA Finals from Milwaukee. The Suns lead the series 2-1. Giannis and the Bucks will look to tie the series up tonight at 8 p.m. on ABC. And lastly, in soccer news, Lionel Messi and Barcelona have finally reached a new deal. Although the details of the contract have not been released, ESPN confirmed Messi took a significant wage reduction to prolong his stay with Barcelona. The 34-year-old's previous contract was worth $594 million. For our latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the DP and Stevens Show, live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Derek Pearson.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.
Tom Stevens.
I must break you.
You're listening to the DP and Stevens Show, brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center.
Let's bring in the big boss man.
Hey.
Mark.
Hey, guys.
Kind sir. You have you
fun day.
So you heard, yeah, isn't it just
fun day.
You heard the presser, you saw it, and then you had some mental notes to things we were talking about.
Well, you guys were talking about Ted Carter's comments about only interviewing one person, and I had just gotten to the point in the press conference where I was cutting that up, getting it ready for you guys. So to kind of set the table of the timeline of how that went in the press conference, they had just gone through the process of having, a pool of 25, whittling that down to about 8 finalists, going through those 8 fairly thoroughly, and then finally coming to a decision quickly. They said they just signed contracts today with Trev Alberts. Shook hands last night, signed contracts today. And then Ted Carter stood up and said, I want to let you guys know we followed state law.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, we only interviewed one candidate because we're not allowed to do this hire in any sort of confidential way. We're allowed to do that for president, chancellor, not for athletic director. Can't be a confidential search. So anybody that we interviewed needs to be disclosed. Therefore, we only interviewed the one candidate, and he's here with us today.
Okay.
What defines an interview?
Good question. I'm sure it's defined in state law. Somehow it wasn't discussed here. And there's probably some semantics at play because, like they said, they vetted 8 finalists. They didn't interview them. They did not have an interview with them. And I'm sure that's why Ted Carter wanted to make that point. Like, I just want to be clear. We followed state law. We didn't interview 8 people. So I don't have to tell you guys anything.
Could you have your search firm go out and, like an Indomitian Sue, go out and interview a candidate and not call that
As
an
I say,
interview?
you have a conversation with a
Right,
candidate.
yeah.
Sit down for a cup of coffee with a candidate.
I mean, I think it's, again, this is a skewed conversation.
No, Tom.
It's semantics.
Let me say this. I've been hired as a coach in 6 different states. 6 different states, different sports, different schools. In each of those, it took me 4 interviews to get the job. 4. That's a minimum.
Yeah.
As a professional and been an executive for 25 plus years, I've never hired on a first interview. Not once. Not for Hyatt, not for Champions, not for Citadel, not for Cumulus, never, not ever. Now, again, I said today that this was going to tell us who everybody was and how business was going to go down, And if this is how business is going to go down, okay. And if you're cool with the one interview hire in the most important position in the athletic department, be cool with it. I'm not telling you not to be cool with it. I'm just saying, for me, I don't have a full understanding for how this is possible. Now that you tell me it's possible, and you had a choice between fully vetting, doing several interviews, because Mark can tell you, you can interview somebody on Monday, interview them again on Thursday, and you get a different vibe.
Sure. Yep.
Right? So if in the most important position in the athletic department, you interview one person. So, okay, that's cool.
You guys touched on this earlier, and the biggest problem for me is that it completely shuts the door on anybody to surprise you. You're not giving anybody the chance to come in and just blow your socks off that maybe you had overlooked previously. You had thought maybe, I don't know, they're not right for whatever reason. You're not giving anybody the chance to be better than your 1A candidate.
I'm fully from the text, and somebody said that folks have talked to Trev and folks that know Trev. Listeners, I've tried to make things clear to folks. I'm not just talking to people in the room.
Right.
See, don't make the assumption that people just because it's 93.7 The Ticket that we don't know people.
Mm-hmm.
No, that is a statement of untrue. And we're talking to people that were on that list of 25 and then that list of 8. And I actually talked to those people last week. I'm not going to. Here's the thing. I have a rule. Don't ask me to lie to you to make you feel comfortable. All I'm saying is this: Trev, good luck. Kill it. Crush it. Knock it out. Win championships. Do that. Whatever all that is, do that. I hope you are the right dude, and I hope that Scott Frost never has to address this stuff ever again. I hope Nebraska has the coaches it wants for as long as they want, and that Trev Alberts is here as long as he wants, and they have success. But in order to talk about it today, you have to ask what the process was. Because the process going into this will tell you the process after this. Because whatever way Trev got the job is the way Trev is going to do business going forward.
Now, I think that there's a feeling in the athletic department, and maybe this is just me, that Trev Alberts was always going to be the athletic director at the University of Nebraska, and they were grooming him to be that as he was hired as the athletic director at UNO. And so they've been interviewing him for 8 years or whatever he's been, however long he's been.
12 at UNO. Yeah.
But then why not just say that, right?
Well, and here's my one. That's not the way Trev tells the story, and he wouldn't tell the story that way. But he basically makes it sound like he was hired at UNO as a favor at the time. Like, yeah, sure, I'll come in and sit here while you need somebody to sit here. But that wasn't his career goal. That's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in media. That was the route he was going down. My hope is that by doing the one candidate, even if it's a charade, whatever it is, but that you
Look at you, charade.
You were maybe
look at you, charade
with your other. I kind of combined charade and facade into one word, charade.
Look at you.
My hope is that they had a higher quality pool of finalists by doing that, because maybe you can get people in the room, get them interested if you do offer them some level of confidentiality. Maybe Jamie Pollard, I know he wasn't one of those names, but maybe he's interested as long as his name doesn't get in the media. So maybe that's part of it.
If you were truly trying to get a very qualified candidate, you would have had to go outside of Alberts. You would have had to go outside the family. Derek Classey's never been an athletic director. John Cook has never been an athletic director. Ed Stewart's never been an athletic director. Jamie Pollard took his own name out of that conversation. He's the only one of the guys that we've been talking about that has athletic director experience.
Sure.
Yeah, but you're talking about experience. Are you saying he excelled at it? Would you say that? Would anybody in the room say that Trev Alberts excelled at the athletic position as athletic director?
I mean, if you're comparing where UNO's program is now to where it was in 2009, yeah, I think it's in a better.
That's fair. But see, in asking the question, you simply extend. All I'm saying is this: if you tell me you're going to do a nationwide search,
mm-hmm.
and you end up in family, for transparency's sake, I need to know what the process was so that I can trust you. And if I can trust you,
Right.
then you tell me, hey, look, we talked to 25 people, and this is our guy.
And
when you say that, I'm good with it.
Sure. And that's the purpose of the state law, right? To provide that transparency. So they are kind of going out of their way to say we followed state law while doing our best to circumvent state law.
You're a naughty boy for saying that.
Well, they followed state law. They found their loopholes and they followed state law.
Look, I want Trev Alberts to do good. I'm not trashing him in any way. For everybody on the text line that's saying that I'm trashing him, for everybody that's saying that I'm full of it and everything, I'm not. I hope he does well. I hope he does fantastic, and I hope Nebraska wins everything forever. But my issue isn't with him being hired or him as an athletic director. My issue now is with the interviewing one person. And you guys can say, oh, it was the state law and, you know, people's names didn't want. Why are you keeping the 8 finalists a secret? Why didn't you want to interview them?
Some, because they're in positions already where if it gets out that Utah State is TCU. If you
keep going.
No, I'm not, you know, I did that in air quotes. So,
okay.
All right. So whoever
He's just
was,
naming universities,
just any Joe's college. Okay. So we can just say that
it's just random places.
That any of those places, and if you're an athletic director, unless it is mutual that the athletic director and the university want to part ways, then you don't want this to be a part of your of a public discussion. You just don't.
No, you don't.
Especially until some university in the Mormon state makes a decision on whether they want this person to stay in Logan, Utah. I mean, in like whatever part of Utah. Or, you know, it could be Fort Worth, Texas. It could be.
Look, those are big places. There's
those are
multiple
huge
colleges.
Places. Those are huge places. So, again, not saying he's not qualified, not saying he won't be successful, not saying we're against it.
I think he is qualified. I think he's going to be good.
Look, I said it. I'll say it again. It is my hope and my wish that Trev Alberts leads this athletic program and gets the football program back to where it aspires to be in a way that it aspires to do it. That's my GPS. I'm going to start from there. Good luck, Trev Alberts. Yep. Bravo. Well done. You got a Hall of Famer back in the building. He understands tradition. He understands the place. He understands the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. He's also put in his work. He's got the job now. Okay. Now where are we going to go? But in order to know where you're going, you better know how you got there. And that's I can't work from being blind to how you got to a particular place.
Should we play some of the sound bites from
Yes,
Trev
please.
Alberts? Trev Alberts talking about the keys to revamping college athletics. I'm sorry, I can't read it from that far. Navigating college athletics.
Everybody's looking for very specific, we're all competitive people, right? Define the rules. We'll find a way to be successful. We'll outwork you and we'll win. The problem is we've got shifting goalposts often, right? Not clear direction, not clear guardrails. So I think what's really important here is it goes back to the unity of purpose. There's no possible way that one person is going to be able to him or herself navigate through this. We've got an incredible staff of leaders, many of whom are deep and have dove deep into this issue. And so we're going to do it together. But the most important thing as well is, I've been in 2 different conferences for the last 12 years, right? Half of the athletic directors, it's very obvious, want to hang on to the past. Let's be honest, this is a very uncomfortable time for administrators in college athletics. The key is we're going to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, this is about student athletes. We're going to support their opportunity to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And there's a whole lot more, right? I mean, the reality is the ruling in the Alston case has left open quite a few other questions. I mean, has the court indicated some, desire to take a harder look at some of these other issues? And so we will be prepared as a university and as an athletic department to have a strategy that best helps our student athletes be successful. That's everything what Nebraska's always been about.
There's Scott Frost there. I want to get to the relationship with, I think one of the things we're all wondering about, what is his relationship with Scott Frost? We know he has a pretty good relationship, I think, with Tom Osborne, but that question was asked.
Sure. Coach Osborne is a dear friend and a mentor. We've kept in regular contact over the years, and he was kind enough way back in 2009 to try to help me. I think he probably was like, "What is this guy doing?" So it was wonderful. But I like to watch people and listen. And obviously, Coach Osborne is an authentic leader. That's what I think you also have with our other leaders. They're authentic. They are who they purport to be. And I really appreciate that about him. And so, as I said earlier, it's really emotional for me. Like I said, I grew up in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and I never dreamed that a place like this would offer me a scholarship and change my life. So that's that perspective. I have talked to Scott, and I didn't play at the same time as Scott, so I don't have the same relationship that perhaps Matt and some others have, but I'm well aware of who Scott is, what he's accomplished. And like I said, I believe in Scott, and I want to be helpful, and I can't wait to do that. But first, I have to earn his trust, and I'll do that.
Interesting that he said he has, a very close relationship with Tom Osborne, who he calls a friend, and he knows Scott, basically. I mean, he has a relationship, but not deep with Scott Frost. So I wonder if that would allow him to make a tough decision down the road. This is Trev Alberts and his thoughts on Nebraska football in general.
Well, I mean, certainly we haven't achieved at the level that we all hope to attain, right? But I believe strongly in Scott Frost's leadership and the coaches that we have in the staff. I am really looking forward to diving in with Scott. The first thing I got to do, and not just Scott, Will and Fred and Amy and every one of our coaches. That's why I talked about earning trust. Listen, you got to earn the trust, and you got to dive in. I want to be helpful. I will never call a play. I don't tell coaches who to recruit. But I think bigger picture, some of the culture things, I think I can be helpful. But I'm really excited about the future of Husker football and the rest of our sports, Sam.
This is Trev Alberts talking about what prepared him for this job.
Well, that's a great question, Steve. I mean, first and foremost, the UNO job was a tough job. There were some pretty incredible challenges. And I think what it really forced was for us as a staff, it galvanized, it sort of forced a sense of unity of purpose in that in order to overcome some of those challenges, that was a requirement. I think the other thing that was really important is very early on, I recognized how significant the challenge was and that I needed help. And we were unafraid to go out and ask for help. One of the most remarkable things about the state of Nebraska is this is a place that cares deeply about public education, and they care deeply about the University of Nebraska, and they're willing to help. You have to be humble enough to ask for it, and you have to listen. And so I had an opportunity to work with, as I mentioned earlier, some of the most amazing men and women business leaders in Omaha and the state of Nebraska. And their mentorship, we worked through very complex financial challenges. And frankly was given a master's degree in business over a 12-year period that I could never repay them for. So I think some of it, college athletics is about relationships, right? And so relationships are really important. And I think a little bit of a head start in the sense of some of those established relationships that'll be really important for us here to continue making the progress that we want.
Finally, Trev Alberts talking about diversity and inclusion on the university campus.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And to be, real frank with you, I haven't spent a lot of time at this point. I'm aware of the openings, and my understanding is there's a significant amount of interest, not only locally, but nationally. And I think we're going to be able to identify some tremendous candidates who can really help us. I'll speak a little bit about diversity and inclusion, okay? And I think it's really part of what I talked about earlier in terms of respecting everybody on our staff. It's really important to me. It's also really important to me that we have coaching staffs and we have an administration that's reflective of what our student athlete population looks like. We need to be a place that when our student athletes come, they're comfortable, and there are people that perhaps look like them and think like them that can support them and help them. And this will be a department that is absolutely committed and dedicated to those areas of interest.
There you go. Overall reactions to what you heard from Trev Alberts.
I said I'm looking forward to what his next step is.
Yep.
I'm looking for direction. That's all there is.
Me as well. We're going to talk more about this. Jim Rose, former voice of Nebraska football, now at KFAB. He's a radio personality in Omaha and part of iHeart Media as well. He was, obviously he's a historian for Nebraska football, so he'll be a good person to talk to about this hire of Trev Alberts and other candidates that might have been good. That's at the 1:30 this afternoon. Also, in the meantime, we've got Lance Harvell. Nebraska really busy in the Major League Baseball draft. It looks like overall, though, they came out pretty clean. They lost Schwellenbach, obviously. They lost Cade Povich. But overall, and Cam Wynn, but overall, Nebraska, I think, fared pretty well. We'll talk to Lance about Husker baseball and maybe his feeling about the hiring of Trev Alberts. All of that on the way on DP and Stevens.
More of the DP and Stevens Show is coming your way on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Security First Bank. We're the bank, and we make your mortgage more manageable with flexible terms, trusted advice, and competitive rates. When you work with us, we'll know your name, but we'll also get to know your home dreams too. Security First Bank of Lincoln. Voted best small bank in Nebraska by Newsweek magazine. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 505011.
Did you know Myers Cork and Bottle offers complete beverage catering and bartending services for everything from tailgates to weddings? Learn more at MyersWine.com or by calling the shop at 476-1518. And don't miss Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer, Thursdays at 4:30 on The Drive.
If you're feeling past your prime with low libido, fatigue, or weight gain, you might be experiencing low T. At Vitalize Health, they can help treat low T and get you back on track. Rami and Jackie have focused their careers on whole body wellness and can help with everything from testosterone replacement to Botox to help the outside match the inside and regain your youthful appearance. Vitalize Health does accept insurance. Call them today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Partly cloudy skies expected here for our Wednesday. We'll top out at around 93. South winds at around 15 to 20. We'll watch for a chance of thunderstorms this evening into tonight. Potential for some isolated severe thunderstorms. Expect a low down to 66. Much cooler tomorrow with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit bonsallpool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smoothbrook, Illinois.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses. And you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Bryce concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Bryce concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Back to the DP and Steven Show, brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're
From the
here.
text line, Sanderson says, play the clip where he demands excellence from the major sports in the athletic department.
Sorry, Dave. Don't have that one.
I was open to that. Harold says, the way I see it, it's a good hire. Why does there always have to be an issue instead of celebrating a great hustler wanting to come back? It's not always a conspiracy. Well, who said conspiracy?
Nobody said conspiracy. Some have questioned the one interview thing.
That's not a conspiracy.
That you
That's
had 8
just-
people that you looked at and you only interviewed one person. I do think that's semantics. I think they talked to more than just one person. I think they did their homework on not just Trev Alberts, but other dudes that they were thinking about. And I think it's possible that some of them pulled out. I think it's possible that they felt that Trev has always been their target and has been for the 12 years that he's been at UNO.
We don't know what most of the coaches are in meetings, so who knows what the rest of the day is going to look like. So Jalen, I knew Jalen had meetings, and then of course today's kind of taking it's growing its own legs. So I'm not sure whether Jalen and Harvell will be able to talk to us. So there's that. I like this thing that Husker fans are loyal to their own. I love that they're happy and celebrating a former Husker. As a matter of fact, a Hall of Famer coming back in the building. Like that's a win.
Yeah,
it's a win. Trev Alberts knows Lincoln. He knows that building. He knows the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Is there doubt? Do I have doubt of whether he can do the job? No. Is he competent? Yes. Okay. But I don't simply work from the space where, hell, here's some eggs. Well, who made them?
Right.
Kind of eggs are there? Like I'm a bit more curious than that. And I'm okay with people saying this is a great hire. Okay, cool. This is a great hire.
If you were
Celebrate.
if you're going to fix football, and I think that's always the target for most programs, especially in the Power 5, you start with a guy that probably has connections to your football program, maybe one, and maybe if you don't find that guy, you step outside the family. Nebraska had 2 guys with connections to the football program, both former All-Americans, both really intelligent guys. Ed Stewart seemed like a great option. He's never been an athletic director. Trev Alberts has. Maybe that's the only difference. If you were going to stay inside the family, there have only been 2 guys that have the experience and knowledge and capability of doing this job.
What, Jamie Williams doesn't count?
Jamie Williams would have been a good pick. I think Tom Osborne did want Jamie Williams.
I mean, look, I've never said that the hire was racial. Not once.
I would have been okay with Jamie Williams.
Not once. See, folks don't get to put that on me. That's not what I said at all. Now, as a statement of fact, there's never been a black head coach hired. That
is absolutely true.
So look, you deal with facts whatever way you want. They're facts. My question would be, if in reaching your goal, and you now have your athletic director, if you haven't had success in hiring in that position, like this athletic department has been kind of a Ferris wheel.
Mhm.
Now, merry-go-round. That if you're continually doing the same thing and getting it wrong, then you need to do something different. To say that you do exactly what you wanted, okay. If Ronnie Green and Ted Carter said we know exactly what we wanted, okay, you got what you wanted. Like, bravo. If you did that without talking to other people, slightly curious. Doesn't say that you were wrong, just simply says this is the process and this is how they do business.
To your point,
it
of
will
doing,
explain everything going forward.
I don't think Nebraska's done it the same way every time. They've done it multiple ways and got it wrong every single time. I mean, the best hire in the history of Nebraska athletic directors is Bill Byrne, which was not a popular hire with the head coach at that time. He wanted Al Papik. Tom Osborne wanted Al Papik. Turned out Bill Byrne was a really good new age college football hire who redesigned the press boxes and was more concerned about, making a little money for the university, which has kind of become a theme throughout college football ever since then, building new scoreboards and making sure seats were wide enough for fans' butts, that type of thing. And then came Steve Peterson, who we thought was a perfect hire and turned out to be a grease fire. He fired Frank Solich, went 58-19. Can't sink to mediocrity, all those things. And it wasn't so much the firing of Frank Solich, it was the hiring of Bill Callahan, which was a terrible fit. Good football coach, still to this day, Bill Callahan. Not a good fit for the University of Nebraska. He's fired. In comes Tom Osborne, but Tom Osborne never had power to do really what he wanted to do. He did hire Bo Pelini, which worked out to the tune of 67-27. So you fixed football at least at a pretty good rate, I thought.
But folks weren't happy.
They weren't happy because he wasn't Tom Osborne. We wanted Tom Osborne.
You understand that a lot of the problems that exist now is because people didn't stop and say, how did we get here? Where are we exactly? How do we get here? And then to evaluate the other options. See, sometimes somebody has to be in the room and go, you know what? I know how you feel right now,
right?
But guess what? The reality is 9 wins, 10 wins isn't bad. It's not what we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the standard we want to set. But then we'll make decisions based on getting back out of 9 and 10 wins to 11 and 12 wins.
And had they left Tom Osborne as athletic director, I think you might have gotten back to that.
Okay. And then,
instead, you hired Sean Eichhorst outside the family. And, that's sometimes a good thing. Bill Byrne was outside the family. So Sean Eichhorst outside the family, recommended by Barry Alvarez. Should be a really good pick. But then he went lone wolf and hired Mike Riley all by himself. The same thing that you're criticizing today. 1 interview out of 8 people. There were no interviews outside of Mike Riley when they made that hire.
If you want to understand how business is done poorly or done well, you have to understand the thinking behind it. When you've done well, how did you get here? When you were successful, how did you get here? Did you remember how you did business 40 years ago, 50 years ago? Doesn't apply now. It doesn't apply. What you did in the 70s doesn't apply. What you did in the 80s doesn't apply. What you did in the 90s doesn't apply. It's a new era. So you better have some creative thinking, some proactive thinking. And Trev may be the guy.
Yeah.
So if Trev's the guy, then what Trev will say going forward will tell us how Nebraska is going to be the blue blood program again. And in saying that, tell me what's acceptable, what isn't. Tell me what boundaries you're going to set in place for it. And then how are you going to hold folks accountable the same way that you would celebrate them?
Right.
Like, you're going to celebrate them, cool. But you also have to hold them accountable for when it is. Remember that Tom Osborne was almost fired because he was just being Tom Osborne awesome.
We played this clip. We played this clip at the very start of the show. I wonder if it'll ever be brought to the attention of Trev Alberts. Now, keep in mind, he was working for ESPN at the time, but this is 2005. And Trev Alberts talking about the firing of Frank Solich.
Trev, is this a fair move to Frank Solich?
I think this is difficult for everybody in the Husker family because of the respect for Frank Solich. He's given his entire professional career and obviously his playing career for Nebraska. But I really do believe, I think this is the right move. I think if you're really honest about it, the program had slipped into mediocrity somewhat. And the bottom line for Nebraska is this. It always has been and it always will be about winning championships. Anything less is frankly unacceptable.
And it's ironic we're using that clip on the day that Frank Solich announces his retirement at the age of 76 from Ohio. But 58-19 at that time in 2005 wasn't good enough for Steve Peterson. And Trev Alberts said the same thing. That's not good enough. We can't let it slip to mediocrity. But will he be saying that in another year or so?
No, I think you allow Trev Alberts to evolve, right? We allow the evolution of executives and administrators. So where he was 20 years ago may not be where he is
right.
Where he is
and
today.
That is fair. That's totally fair.
But as I said, I want to see where he is now. And if that same thing is true, right? Is it true? And then what are you doing going forward? Like what's acceptable now? Like that's the question in the room. What's acceptable now? What are we doing?
To be fair to Trev, you're right. He was a media personality. He's asked for sound bites at ESPN. Nebraska just fired Frank Solich, and he was asked for a sound bite. He gave one.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in a different role. He has to be a little more pensive, a little more reflective, a little more.
He can be honest. No, he can. He's allowed to be honest.
But you don't want him to be just 30-second takes like he's on ESPN all the time.
No, it just tell the truth. Like he talked about trust and transparency. That's all I want. All I want to know is who you are and what you're doing. Like, tell me who you are. The moment you tell me who you are, I'll believe you. So if you tell me that, you know what, right now where I am is, I think this football program should win 8 games a year. Say that if that's what you feel.
I hope that attitude that he had when Nebraska was sinking, quite honestly, a little bit to mediocrity. They were still 58-19, but they were sinking to mediocrity. I hope he still has that passion.
That's not mediocre.
They weren't winning national championships.
But see, there's a huge difference between that's vantage and perspective. 58-19 has never look. If you remove it from that space, 58-19 is excellent.
By today's standards, they were Alabama at that point. When Trev Alberts left the University of Nebraska, they were basically on the verge of 60-3.
And so now you're Florida. At 58-19, you were Florida.
I think.
Right? You were Florida.
Right. Well, maybe Florida.
Okay. So be careful what you ask for because you may get it. You asked for a change. Did you get change? Yes, you got change. Now, you weren't specific in what you asked for. See, the change we want is to be a national caliber team again. See, that's specific. They weren't specific. And you listen to people that didn't know what specific was. Be specific. What do you want? What do you want from Trev Alberts?
I want Big Ten championships and to play for national titles.
Perfect, right? So then for every Husker fan, then you need to ask yourself, okay, so this is what we want. Now, how do we get to the next thing? Like what, and then what the next thing is. And if you don't understand how he got hired, how he got assigned the task of making you a Big Ten champion and a national power, then you have zero chance of getting there. You better ask the question about how you got there and then where you're going.
Sometimes, though, just by when you see it, like, hey, that's the girl I'm going to marry, kind of with Heidi. When you see it.
Yeah, but you went through a whole lot of not Heidi's.
That's
before
right.
You got to Heidi.
And that's what Nebraska's going through right now. They're going through a whole lot of not Heidi's.
You went through a whole lot of not Heidi. Look, I went through a whole lot of not Becky's before I got to Becky.
Right.
So.
And that's fair. And I think that's where Nebraska is. They're looking for their next Tom Osborne.
Okay.
Jason, hi. How are you?
Hey, gentlemen. It's ironic that Solich is stepping down today and retiring. I might be on an island. I think I am, but I'm the person who blames Solich for all this because he was breathing down Tom Osborne's neck, and Osborne ended up leaving a few years sooner than he might have if Solich wasn't right there, outside the door going, okay, you about ready to go here, bud? I'm ready to take over here. So I still hold that grudge against Solich, but I do like the Trev Alberts hire. I think he does check a lot of the boxes. I thought maybe Cook was ready to do it, but it's hard to walk away from a number one recruiting class. So I'm sure Cookie thinks he's got at least a few more years to chase a national title, which would not be a shock with that group of volleyball girls we've got coming in. So exciting time. I like the edge that Trev has. You know, he had the chops to drop the football program at UNO. I mean, he's got some enemies still from that, guys, but I think it was the right decision. You know, we did not need a football program, 60 miles down the road. You know, even if it was our fourth and fifth string guys, that it would have been competing for at the time. I think it was the right decision. I don't blame you. If I was associated with UNO football at the time, I would have been furious, or a UNO wrestling program that was really good. I would have been very bitter and mad. So I don't blame people for being mad at the time. But he has revolutionized with the business community that athletic department in Omaha, and he is going to be silky smooth with boosters and raising money. And I think if that decision needs to be made, guys, about Frosty in the next year to 2 years, I don't think Trev will shy away. So I think it's a good hire. Thanks, guys.
Yep. I don't think he has a cozy relationship with Scott Frost. He does with Tom Osborne, who has a cozy relationship with Scott Frost. So it's a weird dynamic, but
I want him to have a cozy relationship with Big Ten championship and national title.
That would be fantastic.
So, like all that other stuff. Look, somebody says, "Is this what we do now? Look at records in a vacuum? Do we stop to think about what the direction of the program is? Was it when somebody got fired? Is development good? Is recruiting good? Are you adapting to the changing climate of college football? Record can't be the only thing used as a gauge. Okay, what are you measuring? Are players being developed here?
No, not at this very, very moment.
Is recruiting good?
It has been very good, actually, by your recruiting rankings. How do you rank it?
By rankings, okay.
But who cares if you're winning? Nobody cares about recruiting rankings if you're winning.
That part.
That's all that matters. That's all that really matters.
That part. So when you go through this stuff and you understand it, all I'm saying is this, and again, I'll repeat it. How he got the job is over. I'm paying attention to it because it's going to tell me how business is going to be done going forward. I just need to pay attention to it. And then when you tell me now that you have the job, what are you going to do? Are you going to be transparent? Are you going to be trustworthy? That's important. It may not be important to the listeners. That's important to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would like to start with winning, especially in football. And all those other things are a little bit ancillary. Sorry. They're secondary to me. Win. Find a way to win. Hire the right coaches and win.
But if you're not trustworthy and you're not transparent, it's not going to happen.
Let's get to break. Come back with Wingman. It is Wednesday, so it might be you never know what Curter's going to do. I don't want to, put him in a corner because he's an artist.
You can't. Yeah, he's
an artist. You don't want to mess with his vibe.
Yeah, he's creative.
So whatever Curter does. Wingman is coming up next.
You're listening to the DP and Stevens Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air's motto is our family serving yours. That starts with how we hire. We go through an extensive interview process to really get to know you and show you who we are. We want to help you build a great career, be challenged, have fun, and bring home an excellent weekly paycheck. We offer competitive wages with benefits, including a day off for your birthday. Apply to be a part of the John Henry's family at jhlincoln.com. That's jhlincoln.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com.
Security First Bank. We're the bank, and we make your mortgage more manageable with flexible terms, trusted advice, and competitive rates. When you work with us, we'll know your name, but we'll also get to know your home dreams too. Security First Bank of Lincoln. Voted best small bank in Nebraska by Newsweek magazine. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 505011.
Shopping for new flooring? Come see the new Hot and Heavy at O Street Carpet. Hi, Steve Carper here. Hot and Heavy is a fabulous new flooring product. Loose lay planks or tiles with non-skid backing that look great and stay in place. Super easy to install, easy to maintain, about half the price of alternative flooring. Hot and Heavy, beautiful, durable, inexpensive. Install yourself in stock at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
If you're feeling past your prime with low libido, fatigue, or weight gain, you might be experiencing low T. At Vitalize Health, they can help treat low T and get you back on track. Rami and Jackie have focused their careers on whole body wellness and can help with everything from testosterone replacement to Botox to help the outside match the inside and regain your youthful appearance. Vitalize Health does accept insurance. Call them today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Brice concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Brice concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Partly cloudy skies expected here for our Wednesday. We'll top out at around 93. South winds at around 15 to 20. We'll watch for a chance of thunderstorms this evening into tonight. Potential for some isolated severe thunderstorms. Expect a low down to 66. Much cooler tomorrow with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Wingman.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. You can be my wingman anytime.
Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings on 93.7 The Ticket.
464-5685. Call right now on the Honda of Lincoln hotline for your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings so you can get chicken.
Oh, Yos. Yardbird.
It's Wednesday. Usually, what's the hook Wednesday?
You could sprinting through the door.
Well,
it's been a day.
I don't know if you've heard, but Nebraska just hired a new athletic director.
I had to wear pants.
And he was required to wear pants, which is even more galling.
They make you wear pants.
They didn't make me, but I felt it was necessary.
Okay, because it was an event.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That wasn't just a usual presser.
Mm-hmm.
What do you normally
And this is
wear?
the best I could do.
What do you normally wear at like
a post football thing?
Yeah, like some
just
random-
what I wear to work.
just whatever.
Shorts and a
What
shirt.
about when you do PA? Do you have to wear a suit?
Oh, he's got to be khaki up. Man.
Yeah, they make me wear it's like a long sleeve polo with a Big Ten logo on it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't.
I know you weren't ready for this today, so I'll just let you do whatever you want to do.
All right. Here we go. Trivia question: who is Nebraska's athletic director starting Monday, July 19th?
That's a good one.
If you call and just you don't have to say it on the air. Just tell it to Rico, and you win $15 to Buffalo Wings.
Yeah,
I think Steven is there. Already.
Oh, Steven's there. Steven, do you know the answer to the question?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
That's Albert.
Oh, I think that's right.
Nailed it.
Pulled it out of nowhere.
Nailed it.
Well done. Hang
Crushed
on the
it deep.
line. Rico, grab your information.
Deep into the archives for
Crushed
that
it.
one.
Crushed it.
Because not today. He's not the athletic director today.
That's right.
It's the 19th.
19th.
So Garrett Classy could do some crazy stuff between now and then.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do?
Yeah, who knows?
What do you want him to do, Connor? Just he's got a couple of days.
I would go into the chair of Scott Frost. I would Trev Alberts and just roll around it naked in it
Just
for a while.
Put your feet up.
They were pretty clear that they wanted to keep Mr. Classy around. It was a big day for Garrett Classy, I think.
Yeah. Did you see him in the background just kicking the car?
Oh, I was watching him the whole time. I was watching him and Tom Osborne pretty closely. Matt Davison was kind of in that area too,
just looking,
just to see.
I think he wanted the gig. I think he really.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt he
Did
wanted
he
the
just
gig.
stare down the microphone?
No, he took it. He took it very well. He did a good job with it.
What was your overall take at the press conference and what he said?
Trev's an interesting hire. I think I was surprised by it today. I don't know that I'm overly over the moon about it. You know,
I'm not either. I don't know yet. I just don't know.
But you don't need to be. You know, we don't have to be celebrating this. It's the athletic director. It's the leader of leaders, right? So you have to have a guy who could do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be out loud about it, outspoken about it, anything like that. And Nebraska's in a different position as an athletic department than the last time that they had to hire an AD. That was a different gig. It's different this time around too. I heard you guys talking about the one interview thing, and as far as I understood that from Ronnie and Ted, that was more of a technicality of like, we just so we don't have to tell you the rest of the names, we technically only interviewed one guy.
Yeah.
They did not only talk to one guy.
But it moved to their statement before that, which was, we have to earn trust. We have to be transparent.
Mhm.
Like all the,
But they were transparent with that and said, look, here's the deal. We don't want to tell you who the people we wanted were.
Stewart.
See, what happened was,
all of this it's very clear, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying this out loud. He was down the list. Like he was down the list a little bit. And yes, he checked all the boxes, but he was very obviously not the first guy they talked to. This took 18 days.
Yeah.
Right? It's been a while. Jamie Pollard outspokenly said no. You like 3 days after the thing, went open. He was obviously their first choice if we're connecting the dots here. So you go down the line. Like my read on it was how the search went was they did it. They whatever'd Bill Moose was like, okay, here's what
Bill Moose.
Here's what we're gonna do. We want Jamie Pollard, and we're gonna make Jamie Pollard say no. Jamie Pollard said no, and then you go back to the drawing board, do the whole search committee thing, and you have various kind of options and what to do there. And that's okay. Like that's how it went. I think one of the takeaways is maybe this job wasn't as attractive as we thought it was. Which
we were listening to Saturday Night Live, Tom Hanks, John Lovitz,
Yeah.
where they're just standing on the corner and hot women are walking by and they go, no chance.
You're right.
Didn't even look me in the eye.
So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how I read it. The whole one interview thing though was not,
that's what I thought it was
technicality.
semantics. Because I think they talked to a number of different
he
people.
said it. He said it. He said, this is, I want to let you guys know how it works.
Like 25.
So we talked,
and
we
8.
we got it down to 8.
Yep.
And then we only interviewed one. But we only interviewed one because that was our candidate at the time. And that's when we had already known that it was going to be that guy before we quote unquote interview. Because if we interview him, quote unquote, that goes into the ether that goes out there.
Can we just play that?
Yeah.
comment?
Yes.
This is Ted Carter talking about the one interview.
We followed state law on how we did this search. So I will tell you that we only interviewed one candidate. That's the final candidate. And that's following state law. Confidential search for university positions reside only in the president and the chancellors. So all other positions, if we were to interview 5 candidates in detail, we'd have to share those names with you. And we don't in this case because we only interviewed one candidate, but we did the screening to get there.
Yeah.
It's really critical to understand that. And at the end of the day, Trev Alberts was clearly at the top of that list. So we felt very confident that with that single set of interviews that we had the right candidate.
After all those other people turned us down, then we had the right candidate.
Yeah, turned down or are less interested in engaging on the opportunity, right? That
Or
whole
we
thing.
can't get a release from the school we're at.
It was probably never they didn't offer anybody else the job because that's not that's always the workaround that ADs have when they're hiring football coaches. We only offered the job to one guy. Well, we attempt to engage conversations with a lot of people, and it's just a matter of are they willing to engage back.
How much input do you think Tom Osborne had in this decision?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think that he would probably be there to just give his blessing either way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm gathering that he did with Trev Alberts. I mean, they're close friends, as Trev said.
I would think so. Tom was there today. He quickly left after everything kind of
That's
broke
kind of
out.
what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah, he got right on the elevator.
Deuces, I'm out.
A couple people stuck around. Had some good conversations with other coaches, but Not Scott Frost, who is out of town.
No recruiting hour today.
Like he just throws that. He just drops them. He just drops them.
Was he in Vegas? Where was he?
We were told that he is out of town.
All right. Curious. They didn't even bring him in via Zoom.
It's a very normal time to take a vacation. A lot of the media is on
That's right.
vacation.
I'm taking
today
vacation
as well.
tomorrow on Friday. So,
there you
Scott
go.
Frost and I could be together. Who knows? Playing some golf. Thanks, Curter. We'll listen on the drive home.
Thanks.
It'll be great. Lance Harvell is on. We can't ask him any questions about the athletic.
We wouldn't. We're going to talk about Curter's favorite subject.
That's right.
What's that?
All-Star uniforms.
Oh, my God. Guys.
They're terrible. They were awful.
I tried to, I don't know how to really say it, but like one of the coolest things about the All-Star game is the colors. It's all of the uniforms, they look the same and that they have the same base. They're either white or gray. And then all the different colors of all the players and the different hats, the different, like, it's really cool to see on TV because it's colorful and it's a spectacle, right? And they just dulled the whole thing. They were just like, nope, we're going to just smush that and make them wear navy uniforms. Navy pants. Salvador Perez looked like he was 30 pounds overweight in navy pants. Not very friendly.
They would have looked better in pajamas, I thought. I didn't like them either. We'll see what Lance says.
I'd be curious.
We'll do that next.
Follow DP and Stevens on Twitter at Derek Pearson, at 93.7 Tom Stevens. This is the DP and Stevens Show.
No doubt about it, a water softener saves you money. Don't have one? Call the plumbers at Bryant. Just one call and no arm-twisting contracts. For a free estimate, call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com.
Shopping for new flooring? Come see the new Hot and Heavy at O Street Carpet. Hi, Steve Carper here. Hot and Heavy is a fabulous new flooring product. Loose lay planks or tiles with non-skid backing that look great and stay in place. Super easy to install, easy to maintain, about half the price of alternative flooring. Hot and Heavy, beautiful, durable, inexpensive. Install yourself in stock at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Partly cloudy skies expected here for our Wednesday. We'll top out at around 93. South winds at around 15 to 20. We'll watch for a chance of thunderstorms this evening into tonight. Potential for some isolated severe thunderstorms. Expect a low down to 66. Much cooler tomorrow with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
We're in this together, and we will get through this together. The vaccines are tested effective and needed.
Welcome to the clinic with Charm.
Get your COVID-19 vaccine so we can do this. And this. And this.
We are now boarding flight.
Together again, because we got through it together. This message sponsored by the Helmsley Charitable Trust, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Get your vehicle ready for summer driving with our no-cost, no-obligation courtesy inspection. We'll check your brakes, belts, hoses, fluid, suspension, tires, and more. It's absolutely free. And drive away with extra savings, too, with a $70 reward card after submission when you buy 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. You've got a lot going on this summer. Getting there should be the easy part.
T.O. Haas, Tire and Auto, a tradition of trust.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket sports news go now.
I'm Nick Sainert. Nebraska has found their new athletic director. Trev Alberts will replace Bill Moose and make the move from UNO to UNL. Alberts is 50 years old and has been UNO's athletic director since 2009. Frank Solich announced his retirement on Wednesday morning. Solich won 173 games over his 22-year head coaching career. At Nebraska, he went 55-19 in 6 years with the program. That included one Big 12 championship in 1999. Husker baseball stayed hot when they received a commitment from Texas A&M transfer Mason Ornelas. He appeared in 18 games as a sophomore in College Station, and his brother Mitch is already a member of the Husker baseball program. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a 468-foot home run in the American League's 5-2 win last night in the All-Star Game. Vlad Jr. is the youngest player to win the All-Star Game MVP award at 22 years old. Tonight is Game 3 of the NBA Finals from Milwaukee. The Suns lead the series 2-1. Giannis and the Bucks will look to tie the series up tonight at 8 p.m. on ABC. And lastly, in soccer news, Lionel Messi and Barcelona have finally reached a new deal. Although the details of the contract have not been released, ESPN confirmed Messi took a significant wage reduction to prolong his stay with Barcelona. The 34-year-old's previous contract was worth $594 million. For our latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the DP and Stevens Show, live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Derek Pearson.
Do you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal.
Tom Stevens.
I listen to the
You're listening to the DP and Stevens Show, brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center.
Don't care. We're going to play baseball. That's it.
2-2 to Hallmark. Swings and hits one in the air. Deep left center field. Going back is Christian Franklin. And this one off the batter's eye and gone for a home run. Great stop at second base. The toss out at second. Cam Chick has done it with the bat. Here he does it with the glove.
It's a busy day, and sometimes you need a voice of reason, logic, focus.
It's not coming from us.
No, it's not. That's why we bring in Lance Harvell. We need a grown-up in the room.
That's right.
Sometimes, just to make sense of it all. So let's bring in Lance Harvell, Huskers baseball assistant coach. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. You guys, you almost have really made your way down the list if you're looking for somebody to make sense of anything or need a mature opinion to come in onto the show. At first, when you started saying, I was like, oh, did I call on the wrong day? What time is it?
Must be the wrong show.
No.
Yeah. What is this?
No, you are required and necessary. Before we get into the depth of it, Curter went on social media. He threw a Twitter fit over the All-Star uniforms, All-Star game uniforms.
Yep.
How do you feel about said uniforms?
Now, this is the kind of question that I love. This is now you came to the right guy, okay? Because while the University of Indiana baseball players might not think I have any drip, okay, and while I might not have any, I have the most, I would think, on our staff. So you came to the right guy to ask about this.
Nice.
Because I subscribe to the was it Dion that said look good, feel good, play good?
Yes, sir.
I get it. They were bad. I didn't like them. Now, not enough to take to social media and go off about it. They weren't the worst in MLB history. Like, I remember when I was a kid, they had the futuristic ones somewhere in there in the 90s or something where they tried to do like some of them were maybe like sleeveless. I mean, those were terrible. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I can just picture.
Yeah. Lance, the Royals had gold or yellow sleeves under the blue. And then the White Sox went with the old knee-high shorts that looked like they had black lapels.
Yeah, that's
yeah. It's not good.
No.
It ain't. It's not good. So while they maybe weren't the worst in history, when it comes to baseball uniforms, I am I'm a classic look kind of guy. Like, I'm not a big fan of some of the teams now doing the all black or all red or like what. I'm like, no, it's white pants, gray pants, pinstripe, maybe some cream. That's about as far as I'll go there. And then just kind of stick to the classic look. And so, yeah, while the uniforms in the All-Star game weren't great, they weren't the worst I've ever seen, but I like seeing the uniforms, all the different uniforms on the same field together at the same time. I like seeing that. Like that screams All-Star game. You know?
Happer wants to chime in because he's passionate.
I had to jump in. Thank you. Yeah. First of all, thank you for agreeing with me. Second, I want to get your opinion on this. So I think I'm of the same camp of you, but I don't want to speak for you. Where I think that baseball pants should only be white or gray, maybe a stripe down the side, sure, but we're doing black pants now. We saw navy pants in the All-Star game. I can't do it, Coach.
I'm not in on it. I'm not in on the, football uniforms. Some of them look good when they do the all one color. That baseball uniforms, I don't think, unless they're all white or all gray, something like that. But if it's anything other than that, I've never seen one that I wished I was wearing.
Coach,
so wait a minute, Lance.
Hold on.
Some schools can pull it off, but there's a lot that can't.
Let's go with the Pittsburgh Pirates black and gold.
No, I can't do black baseball pants. I'm not in on the black baseball pants.
Well, they also have the gold ones.
What?
The black top with the gold pants.
Even worse.
With the Willie Sargent? What? Clemente? No. Ooh.
But
what? You're an Astros fan.
A good player. Hey, okay. So here, go back to the Dion. But look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
The uniform could make a good player. A good player does not make a uniform good.
That's right.
It doesn't work the other way.
Yeah.
You can't put Roberto Clemente in it and just say that it looks good just because it's him in it. I'm like, nah.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Hey, here's the other thing too. If you go the complete other direction, like just a solid white baseball pant, I'm not a fan of that either. So I'm in the middle, and this speaks to my fashion sense, my political views, basically everything in life.
Yep.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not an extremist on either side of it.
Okay, since we have baseball folks, right? Stirrups. Like I noticed some players this year not only not show stirrups, but they've cut the pants to the knee.
Oh yeah, they're doing really tight pants now. We're doing really tight pants.
Coach.
Yeah.
Those knee high, right at the knee, or maybe top of the knee with the long stirrups.
Yeah. We can thank Hunter Pence for that one. He kind of started that trend.
Yeah.
Now that I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm a stirrups guy. I would go stirrups over like a solid, just solid color socks. But I'm not that, I don't fight that battle. I'm not going to die on that hill. I wore a stirrup like in Little League when I was a little kid. Like I wore the stirrups or whatever. And so I've always liked the look of those. Now wearing them, not even close to being as comfortable as just wearing, a single pair of socks. But no, the thing now with those guys that pull the pants up over their knee, where it looks like they're wearing shorts, there's not even socks long enough to accommodate that. Those guys are having to wear tights underneath their socks. When you start adding layers and it's not because it's cold outside, I'm out.
Yeah.
But you're an Astros fan. You grew up an Astros fan, and the orange stripes. You almost went blind looking at those things. Did you like those?
Yeah. No. I had to really bite my tongue when DP gave me the gift of the 86 uniform. I was like, oh man, these might be some of the worst in his classic. They're like iconic. That doesn't mean they look good.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things. It's one of those ones. Like I'm a Colt 45 fan. Like if you're gonna go Houston, give me the Colt 45 jerseys. I'm good.
I have one more. I have one more. So when you guys were, making your run this year, part of the I don't this is just in my head, or maybe other people think about it this way too, but some of the most memorable parts of the early 2000s Nebraska baseball teams for me was when it came down to, the Big 12 tournament, or they get into the regional, or they get into the College World Series, they all pulled up their pants and they wore the stirrups. And I just got in my head that was something that Nebraska baseball did. Did you ever have the conversation of busting out the stirrups during winning time this year?
Well, so everybody had the high socks, because that's just how.
Yes,
that was a Dave Van Horn, a Rob Childers thing. Coach Bolt, coming from that line, or all of us coming from that line, like we've always kind of worn our pants up anywhere we've been. The only time I switched it up and did both was when I was at Louisiana Lafayette and at Sam Houston, where we kind of had the option to do it. But I still, a lot of times warm up. And I did that when I was a player too. I always had my, did the high sock thing. But no, there was no discussion of it this year in doing that, mainly because Coach Bolt despises stirrups and hates them. Like I said, they're not the most comfortable thing to wear.
That's true.
And so he's a solid sock guy. Now there's places out there, or companies that just make a sock that looks like a stirrup.
Yeah.
Like you're just wearing a regular sock.
You can't do that.
With the markings on it.
You can't do
I'm
that.
not. No, I don't buy into that. You either go all in or you're all out.
Sanitaries and stirrup. You need them both.
In complete contradiction to what I said before about I'm always somewhere in the middle. I'm not an extreme on either side. Then I come back with it. No, you got to be all in or all out.
Well, we were trying to figure. As I said, we need the voice of reason. I'm trying to figure out. It hit me Monday that the NBA All-Star Weekend, the slam dunk contest, the winner gets $1 million. Do you know how much Pete Alonso made for winning the home run derby? $40,000.
Yeah. Did he get a new truck or something too, or was that,
how is that a thing? Right?
No truck to go with that.
Connor,
I thought he got $1 million. And I thought they said you get a bonus of $1 million, you win the home run, because it was more than his salary. Like he's only making $660,000 or whatever.
That's a part of his contract.
He's pre-arbitration, but he makes $1 million straight up and the car for the home run derby.
In his contract, he gets $1 million, but not for actually winning the competition.
Gotcha.
That's an incentive. That's an incentive.
Well, and think about the two events and how subjective the slam dunk contest is, with people voting on it, how good this one was over the no, whatever. There's none of that in the home run derby.
Nope.
It's either a home run or it's not. It's either fair or foul. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yep.
And just for that too, I absolutely love the way that they do it now. When they changed it to where they put the time limit on it and put kind of where there's strategy to it now, and you can't just sit up there for half an hour and take pitches and do whatever. I love how the changes that they made to the home run derby. It is so much more fun to watch now.
You could definitely tell the guys that are in shape and the guys that guys are taking a timeout 30 seconds in some cases. Alonso didn't need one. Man, he was impressive.
It's a machine.
He was
an absolute machine. I want to ask you about
as was his BP thrower, which there's more pressure on that guy than there is the guys trying to, hit the home runs.
That's right. I mean,
the guy throwing BP, that is. Woo.
Did you see they charted the Dave Joust BP pitches, and they were all middle every time?
I saw that. I mean, just pinpoint. That is impressive. Like, from a guy that does it every day and knows the struggle of that is really impressive.
Would you be good at that? BP pitcher for All-Star game?
Ooh.
This came up the other day, because I've been known to kind of be a little, machine gun on the BP. Like, I am a rhythm guy. If you take pitches or something, or you need more time, or you're going slow and you get me out of rhythm, I'm going to buzz your tower, because it's like, I'm here throwing BP. We are going to maximize our swings and our 40 minutes of time we got here. And So I don't whether that makes me good or I don't know. They would be, whoever was hitting that I was throwing to would be sure that they were going to get the most swings out of anybody. They were going to get the most opportunities to hit those home runs because I am gripping and ripping.
What's the perfect MPH for BP, especially for home runs?
That depends on the hitter, and different guys throw from different distances. My BP is a little more firm than some other people's. I'm anywhere from like 50 to 52, something like that. There's other people that are high 40s. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. I throw hard or throw a little bit more of a firm BP. Again, because I'm getting in rhythm and I'm wanting to go. And so, I don't know. I don't know if there's a perfect BP speed or not. It just kind of depends on the hitter, I guess.
Lance Harvell, Nebraska baseball assistant. The draft happened, obviously, over the last few days. Schwellenbach didn't get in the first round, but 59th overall to the Braves. And then Cade Povich, 98th to the Twins. It was a little surprising to me that Cade Povich went right ahead of Kevin Kopps. Were you surprised by that?
No, because when you talk to these scouts and these guys in professional baseball, the age is becoming one of these things that's such a big, factor for them. And a guy that, like Cade, he's 21 and a half years old or just turned 21, and that they'll drool over that. I mean, the kid doesn't even, he might shave once or twice a year, so knowing that he's got, a lot of physical maturity still left to come. And for where he's at now, knowing that there's so much more in there, scouts are just drooling over stuff like that versus a guy like Kopps that maybe is, a year or year and a half older, or anybody else. I mean, there was another, left-handed pitcher that we heard all year that the scouts were kind of comparing him and Povich to. They're a lot alike. They do a lot of the same things. They profile, very similar. But Povich was 21 and a half years old, and this other guy was 22 and a half years old. So 1 year apart, and the scouts were almost like just writing this guy off and just giving every advantage to Povich because of that. So you get into some of these metrics, some of it can be a little bit overthought sometimes. But I did think, obviously just, one pick behind somebody else or ahead of somebody else doesn't make a ton of difference. Obviously Kopps, he's probably going to go straight to AA, honestly. So where it can kind of hurt you in the draft, it might actually help you in your career because you're going to be on a little bit of a faster track potentially if you're older. But no, I think the Twins, and I can't remember who had that next pick, who took Kopps, but whichever team that was, them and the Twins got two pretty dang good pitchers. I know that.
Looking at this whole thing, this is the first time that the in 15 years, 16 years, the Huskers have had two players taken in the first three rounds of the draft. What is your chest sticking out a little bit more? Is that something that moves the rest of the roster that's here that, hey, look, we're changing the way business is being done here, different levels of exposure. We got two in the first 3 rounds.
And draft day, I'm sure all across the country, there's some proud coaches. I know it certainly was for us. And I'm sure, if Coach Erstad and Coach Sylvan, Coach Kirby that recruited Schwellenbach and got him here. And they had, definitely played a part in his development, as did we, and with Povich too. But that's kind of it's a cool thing. I had a cool moment. For me, kind of my sort of first guy with Colton Cowser from Sam Houston State that got taken in the first round there, just a handful of picks into the draft. And he was a guy that I'd recruited and coached for a year before I came up here. And, that was a pretty cool moment for me, seeing his name called. I got a cool message from his dad, just kind of saying, thank you for taking a chance on so Colton and I are from, like, when I lived in Houston, the same suburb of Houston in Cypress. I lived in the same area where he's from. And his dad had told me, he said, hey, thanks for taking a chance on a skinny kid from Cypress 5 years ago. And I said, hey, at one time in my life, I used to be a skinny kid from Cypress too. So, but no, that was, for me, for us, seeing those guys, seeing their name called, whether it's day one, whether it's, whatever round. I mean, you see, Cam Wynn, his name get called, and it just is. It's really cool, and it's always mixed emotions too. Because while you're really proud of your guys that get drafted and get taken, you're also sweating bullets, because there's guys whose names you don't want to get called, and you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. That when guys that like a Drew Christo or Chase Mason, or some of these other guys that you're hoping and praying that they don't get taken, and you want to get them to campus. So draft day is always kind of a mixed emotions and all that, but absolutely proud of those guys, and knowing that you played a part, in some form or fashion of their growth and development as a player, as a person, as a man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty special.
Lance Harvell is our guest. You mentioned the recruiting class, and you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into recruiting those guys. So naturally, you want to see them at Nebraska, especially if it's best for them. And I think you felt that way. Drew Christo could have maybe gone pro, but the number was going to be rather high for him. CJ Hood is at Nebraska. Chase Mason ends up at Nebraska. That turned out really well as far as recruiting is concerned, that you get your whole recruiting class.
Yeah. That's something you work so hard to put it together, and the whole time too with guys like that, when you're recruiting players of that caliber, that as hard as you work to recruit them, to get them to your school, or to commit and sign with you, when draft time rolls around, that's when the real work starts, and that's when it's weird that you almost put in more time and effort recruiting to keep them than you do to kind of get them on board. There's so much that, people probably don't even realize that go into all of that, just getting a kid to campus. It could be certainly a daunting task, but something that it worked out for us this year. Other times it may not, but this year, draft day or the draft in general, the 2 days, it was kind to the Huskers this year. So we feel very fortunate and blessed the way things turned out.
One final thing from me before you go. We were talking All-Star Home Run Derby. Guys are hitting the ball 500 often. That's barely human. What's going on? Are players that much stronger, or is the technology that much better? What's going on aside from the non humidor baseballs? Are players that much stronger? They're throwing 99 more on a regular basis, going 450 on a regular basis. Bigger, stronger, faster?
Yeah, I think so. Now you have people always want to go back and look at, let's look at 50 years ago. There were still guys that, yeah, there were, but there weren't as many of them. They're just, it's across the board. The game is just at a different level because the athletes are at a different level. The training and all, they're not, guys don't have to go anymore and go get, Joe DiMaggio was going and getting a job in the off season, doing whatever. Guys don't have to do that anymore. The salaries, the whole game has changed. And so guys can just completely pour into their bodies and their craft, on a year round basis. And it translates into, pitches being thrown harder, on average, balls being hit harder and further on average. You start to bring in the science aspect to it, and where guys, maybe the phenoms in the game were just kind of more naturally gifted. There's a little bit more of an element of you can create that a little more now. Just go break into the science of it, analyze your swing and your body, make the adjustment, use that stuff to make adjustments in your swing and get to where you want it, because you can compare it to somebody else that's good, and you can basically almost recreate their swing, and that's what guys have done. That's what the game has done. And yeah, I think it's different athletes. I think it's across the board, bigger, faster, stronger, etc. Like there's more time and effort being put into it probably than ever before, and you're seeing that in the product. And it's gonna. I'm interested to see kind of what the next, over the next however many years, 20 or 30 years, what comes out of this. Do they start making ballparks bigger? Like, if they make changes in the game where you go to a universal DH or something, do they start making the ballparks bigger is there, when is the shift back gonna come? We shift into the, you got the dead ball era, then the live ball era and all this kind of stuff. At some point, history tells you like there's going to be it's going to revert back to, it's going to hit some kind of tipping point and revert back to, we gotta, kind of revolutionize the game or get it back to whatever it is. Let's make the field bigger and make it more of a pure game. I don't know. I mean, maybe who knows? We were talking the other day, had a conversation about the, what do you call it? The strike zone, getting kind of the, automated strike zone or
Right.
whatever you want to call it, where they just have they're doing it in one of the minor leagues now, to where the umpire's not calling the strikes.
Right.
They've just basically got a sensor, and the umpire gets, the computer tells you if it's a strike or not, and the umpire gets a buzz, and then he calls it on the field. And they're thinking about going to that. And it's like, well, there's going to be how is that going to change the game? It's more than just being consistent calling balls and strikes. Like, pitchers are going to figure out real quick, okay, so the sensor where this computer is reading balls and strikes is just over, the front plane of the plate. So if Clayton Kershaw can drip a breaking ball and throw it where it literally just comes down almost like a ephus breaking ball and just clips that front plane of the plate, but actually bounces to the catcher, that's a strike. According to the computer, it's a strike.
Yeah.
And guys like that are good enough to manipulate it and do it. And how's that going to change the catching position? I mean, you don't have to have guys that are back there framing pitches or blocking pitches. You just sit back there and catch it. And if you catch it, great. If not, but all we need you to do is maybe throw somebody out every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who knows where the game's going?
Interesting.
We're all just holding on tight, all along for the ride.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Buckle up. The game is changing.
Let's start step one.
Yeah.
Get the All-Star.
Yeah.
Get the All-Star uniforms back right. Okay?
That's right.
I'll
That
send
is
that
step
letter.
one.
I'll
That is
send that
step
letter with Harbaughl's name on it.
Wear your normal jersey, normal uniform, and slap a patch on there and be done with it.
I'm okay
There you
with
go.
that.
I'm good with that.
I'm okay with
Good
that.
with
Coach, appreciate you on a busy day, man. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, guys. We'll talk soon. See ya.
Thanks, buddy. Lance Harvell, Nebraska assistant baseball coach. Always a great conversation. Let's get to break. Come back with the former voice of the Huskers, Jim Rose. He'll weigh in on Nebraska's new hire for athletic director, Trev Alberts. We'll talk to him next.
More of the DP and Stevens Show is coming your way on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here's to days spent roaming and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Whether you're looking for a honey, we can't shrink the kids family car loan or look at my wheels first car loan, talk to Liberty First Credit Union. No hidden charges or early prepayment penalties and rates as low as 1.98% APR. Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. Talk to a lender who's here for people, not profits. People like you. Rates may vary depending on year and miles. Subject to credit approval. Not available for current LFCU loans. See Liberty First Credit Union for details.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Brokers Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Brokers Insurance Agency name. Brokers Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Brokers Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Take a look at your backyard. Does it feel like something is missing? You're right. Now is the perfect time to get an above-ground swimming pool from Bonsall Pool and Spa. Above-ground pools require less space than in-ground pools, are temporary structures if you ever choose to move, and are low maintenance. Plus, you'll never have to worry about the kids getting bored in the summertime anymore. Visit BonsallPool.com to schedule a pool service or visit them at 33rd and Highway 2. Bonsall Pool and Spa.
Baseball is back, Lincoln. Let's celebrate safely. We're excited to celebrate the 20th season of Salt Dogs Baseball and welcome fans back to Haymarket Park in accordance with local health measures. Fans can enjoy the same festive, fun, family environment the Salt Dogs have always offered Lincoln, with peace of mind. We're working with the health department and local officials to keep our stadium safe and sanitary. Learn more about how we're bringing fans back safely for our celebration season at saltdogs.com.
When you buy a new home, you don't want it to be like all the rest of them, right? Coolman Construction does design-built custom homes, and they've never built the same home twice. With Coolman Construction, you'll know exactly where your money is going to and for what reasons, and they allow you to choose exactly what you want for your home after educating you on what's available. They love what they do, and it's never about the dollar, it's about the relationship. Learn more about custom home design at CoolmanConstruction.com. That's KUHLMAN Construction.com.
Summertime is here and the temperature is rising. Beat the heat at Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus all summer long. Pawnee Plunge features a full day of fun for the whole family, including the flow ride, the only one in Nebraska, a large swimming pool, diving boards, a lazy river, climbing wall, and of course, massive water slides. It's a great place for parties or a great spot to lounge around all day long. Book your party by calling 402-562-4269. Come splash and play the Pawnee Plunge Way in Columbus from May 31st through August 8th.
Back to the DP and Stevens Show, brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yeah, it's been kind of a busy day.
It has. It's been a little kooky.
I know you're disappointed you haven't had much time to talk about Frank Solich. I know.
I wanted to talk about Frank, and maybe that's a good way to introduce our buddy Jim Rose, former voice of the Huskers. What do you make of Frank Solich stepping down today at the age of 76?
Very surprised. I got to tell you, fellas, I've always seen Frank sort of in a time warp of 1978, who could probably still play. And clearly there was a major health issue, because for him to abruptly retire like that, very, very out of character for Frank. And so I'm a little bit worried about his physical condition, because clearly it was serious.
Yeah.
Otherwise he would have continued on. But I also know Tim Albin, who's been a loyal assistant to Frank ever since he left Nebraska. And here's Tim's opportunity to be a head coach. And he certainly deserves it.
Yeah, you wonder if there might have been some similar situation to what Frank faced with Tom Osborne having some health issues and promising Frank, and Frank maybe doing the same thing with Tim Albin.
It's possible, although I think probably if that were the case, they may have done it earlier in the year.
Yeah.
When it's this late in the game, it's usually kind of an emergency situation. Somebody's either getting fired or, for a health reason, quitting. And so I'm a little worried about Frank's health. He is 76, but he's always just been a tremendous health.
Yep.
So I'm hopeful that this is not a serious issue.
It's Jim Rose, former voice of Nebraska football, and now at KFAB Radio in Omaha and iHeart Media. Of course, your reaction to Trev Alberts being named athletic director, how surprised were you?
Not at all. When you look at all of the boxes that needed to be checked for this gig, fellers, nobody checks all of them, but Trev checks most of them. In fact, probably more than anybody else. And I think if you listen to the observations that he offered today, and then you also pair them with those of Ted Carter, president of the university, it was pretty clear that they needed somebody that was a long-term solution. And Trev is not a job jumper. He's 50 years old. His kids are grown up. And this is a guy who could give Nebraska 20 years. And I think that's really critically important. You got to have stability in that position. This job has been so badly managed, handled, developed, procured over the last 20 years that the parallel success of the athletic directors and the football program cannot be denied. And I'm convinced that.
I think we lost Jim. Jim, are you still there? Slipped out. Going. Yep, I think we lost his cell phone connection. If you guys can hear me, Rico, if you can hear me, maybe give him a quick call back. Oh, man, he was right there in the midst of some great conversation. That's, no. He is completely lost. Maybe we can get Jim Rose back here. If anybody can hear me in the hallways, please call Jim Rose back, former voice. But he was what do you make of that? That he's 50 years old. He could give you 20 years in that chair. That would be similar to an Ed Stewart, right? Similar to the Ed Stewart hire, if you were to make that hire. But here's a guy that's been athletic director for the past 12 years at UNO, and he thinks it's a really good hire.
I'm not mad at anybody who thinks it's a good hire. I'm not mad at that. Longevity is always better than not.
Yeah.
Once you decide he's the guy and it's firm, then again, it's direction. Look, I'm not. If he's the right guy, and then yes, 20 years is the thing.
Right.
Tell us where we're going to go over the next 20 years.
But obviously, if you went to Tom Osborne, who's been in that chair, has also been the football coach at the University of Nebraska, was very close with Bob Devaney, who was in that chair for a long time, has seen what athletic directors have done. And if you got the blessing of Tom Osborne, then that would suggest to me that's a pretty good hire for me.
Was there anybody that was put in that position that Osborne didn't co-sign?
He didn't like the hire of Sean Eichhorst at all.
Okay.
And maybe that's where we could start. Jim, welcome back.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Do you think you had the blessing or Trev Alberts had the blessing of Tom Osborne?
I think Tom certainly may have been engaged. I don't know how engaged. Yeah, sure. If Chancellor Green or President Carter came to Tom and said, "Hey, what do you think, Trev Alberts?" I think that Tom would come on very strong with that recommendation. But I think Tom also came on very, very strong with the hiring of Steve Peterson. And I think Tom came away very disillusioned because Steve was not the same guy in Tom's eyes when he came in here. So I think maybe Tom probably backed off a little bit, in the recommendation area. I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. He said, guys, I'm not the world's greatest at picking ADs, and you need to make this call. But if they asked for his opinion, I have no doubt that Tom would have said Trev is outstanding.
Jim, what above all things, what did they want to correct with today's hire?
Well, I don't know how much of what I had before you guys got on the air, but I think the most important thing is stability. The most important thing in this department right now is that we have somebody with street credibility who can walk into a coach's room and say, my blood is spilled on that football field, just like yours is on the volleyball court or the basketball court or the baseball diamond. And I care about the end. This is not a jumping off point for me. This is not a deal where I'm looking for the next better deal or the next commissioner's gig or chancellor's gig or, NCAA executive position. I'm here for Nebraska. I'm here for the N, for the red N, and that's it. And if we have anybody in this department who doesn't put the N first, they're not going to be around long. So he can walk into a room full of coaches who may be skeptical and have immediate credibility. I thought he was very, very salient when he said, I have to earn their trust. Well, he's a lot further along than most people because he's number 34, okay? His name is on the side of the stadium. He made 4 tackles in the national title game on a broken arm, 4 sacks of a quarterback who'd been sacked 10 times all year in the national title game with a broken arm. So he doesn't have to go very far to convince the people in that department that he cares about Nebraska as much as they do, if not more. And I think that's important.
And Jim, he's also made some tough decisions when he was at UNO. He quit football, cut it, and wrestling as well, and then started up hockey for a program that's never had hockey before. But could he make a decision like firing the football coach? It came to that.
This is a very, very important point, Tom, and I'm glad you brought it up. All I know is what I've observed watching Trev as an executive for the last 12 years. I don't think anybody in Lincoln has any idea just how bad it was at UNO when he took over, just how completely awful the athletic department was there. It was a complete dumpster fire. And he came in and looked over the worst situation in the country. I mean, this wasn't a bad situation. This was the worst situation. The football program was losing $3 million a year. They were completely out of compliance with Title IX. They were non-competitive in their conference. They'd made a major investment in the hockey program, but they were losing money on the hockey program because of the deal that was made by previous administrators for the arena use. They had no football and softball fields. They were a complete mess. And this guy rolled up his sleeves, having never been an athletic director before, rolled up his sleeves and said, we have a lot of work to do. And it's not going to take a couple of years. It's going to take a lot of years. And a whole lot of people are not going to like some of the decisions that we make. But it's in the best interests of UNO. It's in the best interests of this athletic program long after I'm gone. So if you look back now on what has occurred, this is what Trev Alberts has engineered. Trev Alberts has engineered the building of a basketball, volleyball, and hockey arena, a baseball, softball complex. He merged the program from Division II into Division I. They are competitive in every sport in the Summit League for the championship, not the top 5, the championship with one of the smallest budgets in the entire conference. He's worked multi-million-dollar media deals as the third-place school in the number 75 ranked market in the country. This guy has taken a hockey program to the Frozen Four. His men's basketball program was 1/2 from the NCAA tournament. His baseball team won a game at UCLA when they were the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. This is a guy who has vision. He has a backbone of steel. And this is a guy who is willing to make tough decisions. He's willing to absolutely upset the status quo because of its long-term positive impact. And I don't know that Nebraska needs any of that stuff. Nebraska has a $150 million revenue stream. UNO has about a $7 million revenue stream. So there are a lot of things he doesn't have to do at Lincoln that he needed to do at Omaha. But he's a fearless administrator, and he's bright, and he's researched, and he's thoughtful, and he knows how to build relationships.
Good stuff, Jim. Sorry we lost your phone line, but we need to have you back to talk about this some other time. Thanks for the time.
Anytime, guys. You bet. Have a good day.
There you go. Jim Rose, former voice of Husker football and now at KFAB Radio in Omaha and part of iHeartMedia as well. Let's get to break and eat the leftovers to round up the show next.
You're listening to the DP and Stevens Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Whether you're looking for a honey, we can't shrink the kids family car loan or look at my wheels first car loan, talk to Liberty First Credit Union. No hidden charges or early prepayment penalties and rates as low as 1.98% APR. Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. Talk to a lender who's here for people, not profits. People like you. Rates may vary depending on year and miles. Subject to credit approval. Not available for current LFCU loans. See Liberty First Credit Union for details.
Now that Ken Richards has purchased Brokers Agency, he and his professional staff will continue to provide their clients with the same excellent service under the Brokers Insurance Agency name. Brokers Insurance Agency works with more than 15 companies to help find the best policy for you to avoid any long hassles. Also, if you're looking to get into the insurance business as an independent agent, they have the formula to make that process smooth and successful. Call Ken with Brokers Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 or visit brokersinsuranceNE.com.
Summertime is here and the temperature is rising. Beat the heat at the Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus all summer long. Pawnee Plunge features a full day of fun for the whole family, including the Flow Rider, the only one in Nebraska, a large swimming pool, diving boards, a lazy river, climbing wall, and of course, massive water slides. It's a great place for parties or a great spot to lounge around all day long. Book your party by calling 402-562-4269. Come splash and play the Pawnee Plunge Way in Columbus from May 31st through August 8th.
Wouldn't it be great if you could shop for a new floor at home where you can clearly see the best choice? At O Street Carpet, we'll bring our store to your home. Hi, Steve Carper here. Tell us what kind of floor you're thinking about. We'll bring the sample so you can pick and choose with confidence. We'll even measure free while we're there. To shop at home, just call us or stop in at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street or in your home.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Brice concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Brice concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
I sure am, Charlie. Great to talk to you again.
Andy, I know you're selling a lot of cars right now, but I hear you still have a lot of cars available.
We do, Charlie. In fact, we still have over 500 new 2021 Hondas to choose from in stock or on the way, with 0% APR financing available on select models.
What about new 2022 Hondas, Andy?
You know, we actually have quite a few in stock already, and they're arriving every day.
Now, I'm going to assume since you're selling a lot of new cars, you have some great trade-ins available too. How is the selection of pre-owned?
It's the largest selection of pre-owned we've ever had, Charlie, with over 160 to choose from. People can choose from just about any make and model you can imagine.
Thanks, Andy. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Welcome to Friendly Neighbors. Welcome to maintenance-free living. Welcome to Carriage Glen. Welcome home. It's everything you'd want in an active 55-plus rental community right here in Lincoln. Spacious floor plans, numerous amenities, beautiful surroundings near Holmes Lake, and much more. Plus, with Carriage Glen's current move-in special, you can save thousands if you act now. Carriage Glen invites you to take a personal tour or visit them online at carriageglenoflincoln.com. Discover the place you'll love to call home.
Baseball is back, Lincoln. Let's celebrate safely. We're excited to celebrate the 20th season of Salt Dogs Baseball and welcome fans back to Haymarket Park in accordance with local health measures. Fans can enjoy the same festive, fun, family environment the Salt Dogs have always offered Lincoln, with peace of mind. We're working with the health department and local officials to keep our stadium safe and sanitary. Learn more about how we're bringing fans back safely for our celebration season at saltdogs.com.
Back to the DP and Stevens Show, brought to you by Tracy's Collision Center on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's the undeniable pizza smell.
Yeah, we got pizza all of a sudden. Val's Pizza, too. Good stuff. I like it. I don't know why we got pizza, but I'm not asking any questions. When we go home,
I
I'm
don't
taking
know. My immediate concern was I'm not sure that I could eat it.
That's right. You have been able.
Oh,
Your
I got-
stomach doesn't love you right now.
No, it does not. And but I'm a
You can
trooper.
always save it for tomorrow.
I'm a trooper.
Yeah. You gotta burn through it, man.
Yeah.
You gotta keep grinding.
Suck it up, DP.
Suck it up, baby.
Yeah.
Eat, even if you are sick. Big thanks to Lance Arbell, always a stud on the show. Love talking to him and Jim Rose, voice of the Huskers. Been a busy day. Nebraska has picked a new athletic director in Trev Alberts, so we'll continue to talk about that, even though I will not be here tomorrow.
No, you will not.
Or Friday, playing in a big golf tournament. And I'm in the zone right now. I'm in the zone.
Feeling good about your game.
Not really. But nonetheless, I'm
going
to try to win it. Let's deal with the leftovers. Not that. We only have a couple minutes. Let me stop that. I don't want to play that. I want to play this. Play this.
I'd like to be alone with the sandwich for a moment.
I got it now.
Eat it. Yes.
The leftovers.
There we go.
I totally was just gonna flip out and just go get pizza. I was just gonna grab plates. I'm like, I don't even know if I can eat this, but okay.
You gotta push through, baby. Nebraska officially announced the signing of Alonzo Verge from Arizona State yesterday. 6'2", 170, Chicago native, averaged 14 points a game, sixth man of the year in the Pac-12. This is what Fred Hoiberg said about him. Alonzo is a combo guard who's played at a high level offensively. He's an explosive scorer who can score at all three levels and distribute. He's a very good rebounder for his size and will mesh well with the other perimeter players in the program. You agree?
I like all of that. Different skill set. More of a scorer than a shooter. Gets to the elbow. Nice floater. I like it. 4 and 4. Look, if you're going to average 4 assists off the bench or 4 rebounds off the bench, it's purposeful.
Yeah, I think, and he's such a good mid-range shooter that I think it will complement some of the other players Nebraska has who are pretty good three-point shooters. I like that signing.
I wonder whether he's coming in to start.
No. I think it won't be too long before he is starting.
Pac-12 6th man of the year. I'm not sure anybody else in the team would have qualified for that.
Yes, please. Frank Solich has retired at Ohio. He is the winningest coach in the MAC. Pretty impressive. He turned around that program. It was terrible when he got to Ohio.
What is his legacy here?
Dumped on. We hated him.
But
him.
if you had a plaque that said Frank Solich.
Frank Solich coached here would be his legacy at Nebraska.
But that would be it. But
and played
good.
here. Probably
Nothing
a better
good?
player than he was a coach, even though he was 58-19. He had the misfortune, as a lot of coaches do, of following the best coach in the history of Nebraska football.
So can we fairly say that he was a good coach?
He was a good coach.
Better than average coach.
Better than average.
Great coach?
Great coach at Ohio. Good coach at Nebraska.
Didn't he have a higher winning percentage here than he did there?
Yes. But different standards.
Okay. Things to understand. Just trying to understand.
Totally different standards.
Just trying to understand his place, man. Got to ask questions.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you're here to ask those questions. What was the big takeaway you got from the presser today from Trev Alberts?
We got a new guy.
We got
He's
a new
Husker.
guy.
He's a Hall of Famer. Let's go.
Let's go. Cam Wynn was taken in the draft. He won't be coming back to Nebraska. But the good news is Drew Christo will. He didn't get selected. CJ Hood did not. Chase Mason. They get their entire recruiting class coming back.
Big Ten champs. Stay loaded.
Yeah, I feel really good. I mean,
stay loaded.
Cade Povich is going probably with the 98th pick in the third round. The Twins get Cade Povich. But you got your entire recruiting class. I think Jackson Hallmark might be back. Things are looking up for Husker baseball.
Well done, Huskers baseball.
We are out. The drive for 4 hours is next. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.